All right, cool. We are live now. All
Go.
right, y'all. What's going on? It's your boy Cool Colas here, and I am here with the sis, Taylor B TV. So I want to start off, y'all, by introducing her to the channel and introducing her to y'all as my audience. So I would like for you to go ahead and let everybody know a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then tell them whatever else you want them to know.
All right. Thank you so much, bro, for having me on your platform, back on your platform. It's an honor
Definitely.
to be here and it's an honor to talk to all the blurs out there. Peace to all y'all. So my name is Queen B, also known as Taylor B. And I am the founder of Taylor B TV. That's Black Education Empowers True Vision. And we have different podcasts that we bring to the family just to enlighten the family, elevate, educate, different things like that. So I'm astronumerologist. So, I'm bringing that piece to the family, and that piece can be very important in our healing process, in our transformation process. So, those are the type of things that I bring. Just breaking down things that we're going through, and really just looking for solutions to make things better for us now and for our future generations. So that's pretty much it.
Most definitely. No, very well put. Very, very well put. And one of the reasons why I actually brought Taylor B onto my platform is because I thought we'd have a very constructive conversation about the topic for today, which is how can we create a better media for Black people, specifically foundational Black Americans, but for all Black people in general. I thought she'd be the perfect person for this topic because her and I have chopped it up a bunch of times on Instagram, and
Yes.
she really speaks truth to power, y'all. So I definitely, had to have her for this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So
I
yeah,
appreciate that, bro. I really do. I'm excited.
yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to have you on. Um so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
All
I
right.
want to start off by asking you a few questions, and I want to get your insight on it and your perspective so you can kind of share it with the audience here. But I whenever I do, content for my channel, I like to take things at the highest level and then bring it to the solutions, right? So my
Mhm.
whole thing is if you don't know the history, if you don't know how we got to where we are, then there's no way that you can solve problems and you can create constructivity. So what I like to
Yeah.
talk about is how do we get to the point of where we're at so we know what to do going forward. And that's why my first question for you is what do you think are the biggest issues that plague Black Americans in the media today? And when I talk about media, that includes TV shows, movies, and you could even go as far as social media. But I wanted to kind of hear your perspective on this.
So I think it's the same old story, right? It's nothing new under the sun. I think it's the same old story as when they first started using media to portray us in a negative light. I think it's like weaponized against us, in certain aspects. Now you do have some media that is good. Obviously, you have the balance, somewhat, but more so in Hollywood and like mainstream media, there's really no balance for us. And a lot of times we're just being depicted the same way we've always been depicted, as stereotypes, as like less than important characters, things like that, or like how you put tropes. They do different tropes on us in the show. So I think it's no different. I think they still, want to portray us as broken families, broken homes, or if they do have, and if you notice nowadays, they put like a interracial couple in the home,
Yep.
or they put a LGBTQ in the home,
Right, right, right.
and then they have us raising that. So either way, they never depict the black man and the black woman together in the home and the family and different like maybe TV series and even up through movies. Um, so I think that's the first thing because to me, my big thing is the family unit is kings and queens up culture and building that dynasty and building that family name, that family unit, so
Hmm.
we can have legacy, and that's how you have legacy, and that's how we were able to even do our genealogy today because our parents were married and they had marriage records and they had these type of things and they had stability.
Hmm.
We're less stable today than we were at different points in history,
Hmm.
because we don't have that family unit. So I think that's the same old thing. I mean, I think that's where I would start at. And then just that and all of the stereotypes that you could ever imagine or ever think of, that they've ever placed on us. That's what they use in the media. And it still has a big message with the masses and with the audience. It has a big effect on the way we're viewed globally.
Hmm. Absolutely. That was very well said. And the one thing that I really want to point out is that last piece of what you said, which is it has an effect on us as a whole. And really, what that is indoctrination, because when we see these different images, it teaches us to think about like our own lives in a certain way, and then, other Black people in a certain way, right? The whole thing that they try to do with media is they try to make it a mechanism for indoctrinating people to believe the things that they want them to believe. So in the case of us, that means, brainwashing us to see ourselves in a certain way, and then allowing everybody to view us that way as well too. And then when you have a lot of these actors and actresses who will like readily take up these roles, then they're basically playing into the different messages that they're trying to create through media. So the stuff that you said is definitely spot on. I would agree with literally everything you said. I think these are all problems. We could talk about this all day,
Right.
you know what I mean? But
Right.
yeah, I and the main things, because I kind of broke this up into categories, because at a certain point I thought about this question myself, and I'm like, man, it's so much stuff that you could talk about as far as like what are some of the biggest issues. But to me personally, I would say like cultural cosplaying is a big issue, confusion via muddying the waters, lack of mutual, or I guess authentic, healthy Black nuclear relationships, like you talked about. You don't
Mhm.
see this dynamic of having a masculine Black man and a feminine Black woman together in harmony. Like, you don't see like a lot of those images. You may find it, here or there. You may find one or two you can point out, or you may have to go all the
Mhm.
way back to the 90s and look at some of those
Right.
Black sitcoms. You know what I'm saying? But like,
Yes, that is
and
where you have to go to get
yeah,
the honest picture of that.
right. And the problem with that is that's something that should be a continuous thing. We shouldn't have to go back to like, shows like Fresh Prince and stuff like that, and My Wife and Kids, in order for us to just say, oh, there was a Black family that was being portrayed. We should be able to see that regularly in 2025, because the reality is that there are a lot of us, in the Black community who have harmonious relationships. It's not always dysfunction and discord and chaos, but the media likes to portray that that's a thing. So I think that we need to see that reflected
Right.
more on television, especially when you have like kids and people like that, and they're watching TV and they're seeing these images. They're soaking that stuff up like a sponge. So they need to see positive images of Black people being in harmonious relationships, like a Black man and a Black woman, that is.
Right.
Now the
And
other things that I would
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, bro. No, go ahead, bro. Finish up. Finish it.
Yeah, the last thing I was going to say, so lack of ownership is another thing that I think is an issue, and then
Mhm.
inauthentic portrayals and anti-Black portrayals. So as you can see with all those different things, I kind of mixed it up, where I talked about like things that are like trope based, like actual images that are anti-Black, but I also talked about some of the stuff that's outside of it, like again the cultural cosplaying. Like you see a lot of these people who are not foundational Black Americans playing foundational Black American roles. And there's
Yes.
already tropes in the role, but they're readily playing it,
Mhm.
and just like the confusion that it creates for people via indoctrination. And then, lack of ownership, because we don't really own any like real studios. I mean, you could point to Tyler Perry, but that's about it.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, what are you
Bro,
gonna
can
say?
you just I'm sorry, can I have 1 minute? Somebody's at my door.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem. Go
in the
ahead, do your
midst of
thing.
this. Give me 1 second, okay? I'm
Yeah, do
gonna,
your thing.
can you, I'll be right back. I'm
Yeah, no, you
sorry.
good. You good. All
Hi.
right.
Yes, 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 thank you.
Let me see. Hopefully that muted her, because I feel like that's what she was gonna try to ask me, was could I mute her and whatnot. But I'm getting used to the StreamYard thing, y'all. So you're gonna have to bear with me if it didn't work. But I think that's what she's about to ask while she was trying to open the door. Yeah, if you said something to me, I didn't even hear. I had muted you because I thought that's what you were saying. You were about to say you wanted me to do.
Alana, go in my room and get a cycle. Yes, if you go to I'm not. So yeah. I am so sorry, brother. I ordered food and it just came, so I had to get the door. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah,
Can you
no
hear me?
sweat. It's all good. Yeah, I was.
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, I didn't know if you heard me. I was just saying that I think that you were it seemed like you were about to ask me if I could mute you so that you could have your conversation in the back or something like that. So I was like trying to find a mute button and whatnot so you could do your thing.
I gotta give you a tutorial of StreamYard, bro.
Cool. Please do.
I got you.
Please
I
do.
got you. I
Yeah,
got
this
you.
is like my second time using it, so
Yeah, I
yeah,
got you.
cool. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Now, the next question that I had for you is um what types of movies and television shows would you like to see more of that involve our people?
I would just like to see us in a normal light.
Okay.
I think, and I'm going to go back to, like I said, me, everything goes back to some type of educational piece or some type of historical piece, right? So when we look back at the first really film cinema that portrayed us in a negative light, that was back
Hmm.
in 1915, bro. And
Hmm.
that's with that movie Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith.
Yep, I remember.
And in that movie, it was very racial, very stereotypical. And what the brother did that kind of came back to combat that, which we'll talk about, Oscar Michaud, he came back and just really challenged everything. Um, he challenged it. So I would like to see more of that too. More of us just like challenging the tropes, like the tropes that you point out. I would like to see us challenge those things as a nation. You
Hmm.
know, once we get ownership and we can build up our own things and build our own film, because that's the other part of what I think we could do to
Hmm.
really, make sure we're controlling that narrative of how we're looked at. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
that and just normal things like the superhero movies, like the stuff you're doing, like your sitcoms. Just because growing up, and I know growing up, when we would watch TV, we would barely see ourselves on TV.
Hmm.
You know,
Definitely.
we would barely see ourselves on TV, and if we did see ourselves, it was one and few between, or we were depicted in a stereotypical role, right?
Hmm.
So I would just like to have it like an inverse universe of all of those things. Like, let us be in those roles, like we're normal people too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
that's what I would like to see. Of course, I want to have more documentaries because there's a lot of work that we need to do. And
Yeah.
obviously, at the end of the day, media is media. We want to watch it to escape some things, but there's also a serious piece to things because again, media is powerful. So the things that you show and the things that you watch will have an effect on you. It will have an effect on the way you think, on the way you act, and everything. So I just look at it as I want to just see us being normal people on TV the way a normal show would go, like a CSI, but all of us. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just whatever, So I don't think I have like a specific one,
Yep.
but I just want to see it in that light. And then let's see one or two of those in between, And I'm not saying that to be,
Yeah.
mean against nobody else, but like that's what we've been dealing with. Like, so why can't we get that same, respect and that same opportunity for our own selves to be able to show our children, a better way or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it did for their families. It showed
Hmm.
them, oh, you can be a lawyer and you can grow up and do this, or you could grow up and do that, or you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying. So we should be afforded to have that same thing. Um,
Yep.
That's what I'll leave that answer because I know you got a lot more questions. You know me, I can run off at it. So
Most definitely. Oh yeah, that's what you're here for. We want to hear it all. Most definitely. Real quick, I just wanted to look at some comments. Natsu, much love to you, bro. Appreciate you coming through. Natsu says, love you both, Colas and B.
peace, peace, peace.
Then my
I'm
my wife here chimed in. I don't think I've seen that movie before. I think that she's talking about Birth of a Nation, if I'm not mistaken. Like when you talk about Birth of a Nation, I don't think she said. I think that's what she's referring to.
So I'm referring to Birth of a Nation, but if you guys want to know the name of the film that I'm gonna put the I have a link to it. So if y'all want to go watch it, because back in the day during this time they had what they call silent films, and
Mm-hmm.
this was before they had the synchronization of sounds on cinema. So they would just play the roles, and they would have either music in the background or orchestra, or sometimes like a dub over type thing like that. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like never synced up. And then at a certain point, like in the late 20s, mid 20s, the late 20s, that's when they got sound synchronization. And that was one of the things that had contributed to some of the Black brothers and sisters that had movie rights and all that. They were
Mm-hmm.
their own production companies. It,
Yep,
it it contributed to their fall.
for sure. No, you're right
Hmm.
about that. I think that one of the things that we need to do, and this is one thing that I've been kind of noticing about, since I've been watching a lot of different movies and TV shows and analyzing them, is that
Hmm.
when we watch these things, we have to learn how to like take our emotions out of it. What I mean by that
Yes.
is we need to learn how to just analyze it as a point of looking at a case study. A lot of times we get emotionally invested because we know it's wrong, right? We know the stuff that we see as anti-Black, but ultimately the problem is that we have to look at it as a case study so that we're examining the different images and the different messages that they're putting in media. And so even with me, when I look at different things, I separate, the things that I like from the things that I don't like from the things that are directly anti-Black. And
Hmm.
then another thing I've been doing too is I've been studying the methods and how they're portraying these different things in these movies and TV shows we watch. And one of the main things that I've noticed is that they'll take a lot of our culture, like a whole lot of our culture, and then they'll repackage it. I actually
Hmm.
call it like the cultural repackaging method. But they'll like
I
it's like a whole agenda now.
love how you be naming that stuff, bro.
Yep, I have to because my thing. See,
Yeah,
labels
yes,
they're
you do.
really important. It's really important for
Hmm.
us to have descriptions of the things that we are looking at and the things that we're entertaining, and that's
Hmm.
important because we need to put like a name to these things because they happen systemically. It's not like something that's an anomaly or it happens as a one-off. These are things that we commonly see. So,
Right.
what I was gonna say is, I noticed that there's a lot of allegories that end up getting portrayed and the things that we see. So for example, you'll see like comic books is a very good example. You'll see a character like Superman, or you see a character like Batman or Spider-Man, and so you're thinking, oh, it's a white dude who is in a costume or who has on a mask or something like that. But a lot of these characters actually came from Black gods, because
Right.
even with like Spider-Man, he came from he was a deity or something like that, and it was called
Hmm.
Anansi, and he was like a spider deity, like a Ghanaian spider deity. So like they actually take a lot of like our culture and they put it into the media that we see. They repackage it and then they'll become a white superhero character. So I say all
Absolutely.
that to say we need to learn how to create allegories, but tell real history through the allegories that we're portraying in our media. And
Hmm.
we I could go even deeper than that, but I got more questions, and it's going to go more into that because we're going to start talking about content and some other stuff. But that's my
Okay.
main thing is we need to learn more how to actually create allegories with our own stuff too.
I think that's dope. And I expect that coming from your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is your thing and you really do evaluate these things. So I think that is an excellent viewpoint. Um, and that way we're like, entertaining ourselves, but we're still empowering ourselves with the truth of our history. And it's really setting a good role and a good example for our kids. So I think that's splendid. It's an excellent idea.
Most definitely.
Mhm.
So I got a another question for you here.
Okay.
So, out of all of the tropes that you see, since we talked about tropes and all that, a trope,
Hmm.
I'll say tropes and agendas. I'll include agendas into this question. Out of all the
Okay.
tropes and agendas that you see that involve anti-blackness and specifically impact black people, which one or ones do you think shows up the most frequently?
The LGBTQ.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
Um, I think lately that's the one, and the interracial.
Got you.
I would say it's probably a tie between those two, and it's either or. It could be
Hmm.
either or on any given day. It just it's gotten to the point for me where I don't even like watching stuff anymore.
I feel it.
Um, and I know you have to watch stuff all the time because this is what you do, right?
Right.
And it's like I watch stuff and I swear I take my own fun away. Like I can't be entertained because there's so many things that they do, and it's just like,
Hmm.
really, and then I really think media itself in general has really done a number to effeminize black men.
For sure.
I think that's one of the other main things.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the tops for me. Those are the
Hmm.
top.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely could see that. So
Yeah.
there's a couple things that I think happen more than the rest. You named a
Hmm.
few. I'm a piggyback
Hmm.
off of one that you said for sure, which was
Okay.
I call it the swirling trope. So I said,
I love these names. The
yeah,
Skrillex trope. I
I
gotta
gotta
remember
do my
these.
own thing with the
You
name,
you you need a glossary, brother. You need a glossary. Got to put a dictionary together.
It's so funny you brought that up. One thing I thought about doing was actually making a book where I actually spell out all my different terms.
Yes.
Because when my book that I came out with, I talked about tropes and a few agendas and whatnot, right? But I
Hmm.
think it would be beneficial to maybe like go even deeper, specifically on agendas, and then talk about like debate terms and things like that. Because all this stuff
Hmm.
is important because we got to label things like just so
Right.
we know what we're talking about whenever we're describing some of this stuff. But
I agree. You know me, I'm always naming things. I even down to this shirt. We are the bag, Black American Greats. This is my own line. So I'm always coming up with acronyms and naming things down to BTV. You know what I mean? Black Education Empowers True Vision, and Queens Up and Kings Up. All that stuff means something. It all has a acronym and a meaning to it, and it's all about putting those words together, like you said, and it's to empower ourselves and change the way that we interact with each other. So definitely you got to do that.
most definitely, I like that shirt. By the way, that's a cool acronym too.
Thank
BAG.
you. Yeah,
Okay.
we are the bag. And if anybody wants to get the shirt, I'll drop the link in the chat for
Oh yeah.
besmartclothing.com. And what I actually will do is I should have put together a discount for your cool cola verse. But I will put a discount together maybe on there, and then you guys can go on there in the next couple days and pick out what you want. I got a lot of different stuff up there. This is just one of them. So I wanted to make sure I wore that for the family tonight. But go ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and please drop that link so people can go and they can support. Most definitely.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say real quick is so the swirling trope. So I said this last time that I was on here, but there is a difference between between interracial dating and swirling. Interracial
Okay.
dating is when it's the simple act of somebody who is of one race dating somebody who is of another race, and that's pretty much it. Swirling is when you take it to another level and you literally denigrate somebody who is of your same race based off of your relationship. And this is something you
Oh,
often see in media, you know what I mean?
yes. Yes.
Like, yeah, and I think that just the image in media alone could be represented as swirling because it's part of the propaganda of showing an interracial relationship that's counter to showing like two black people being together, specifically like a black man and a black woman. I want to be clear about
Right.
that,
Yeah.
So the other two things that I think, and these things bounce off of each other, that I think happens a lot in media now, outside
Mhm.
of that, are I'm gonna talk about a trope and an agenda. The trope that I think happens quite often is what I would call the black carbon copy trope.
Okay.
Now, let me explain what that means.
Yes.
So, the black carbon copy trope, there's two categories, right? There's like two subtropes. So, it's the idea of failing to portray black authenticity by making a copy of a white character, but they now are black. So there's two different ways that people typically do this. When I say people, I'm talking about the dominant society.
Mm-hmm.
So one way they do it is by this thing called mantle passing. And the other way they do it is by what people commonly know as race swaps. These are the two
Okay.
directions that you can go in with this trope. So with the race swap, that's pretty simple. It's basically you have a character that was originally white, and then you change nothing else about the character except their race and all the phenotype stuff that is related to that character. So
Mm-hmm.
like the name don't change, the story don't really change. You may like change certain elements, like because they like to throw in little racial things here or there,
Yes.
like they're trying to tackle racism. But outside of that, like they keep everything about this character the same. So that's like a race swap. Now, with a mantle pass, that's when they go a step forward. They, instead of them just changing the actual like race and the phenotype, they change the name. They'll change like other elements like the backstory and stuff like that. And so people are like, well, isn't it original at that point? And it's like, no, it's not. It's not, because the shell of the character is still the same. So
Mm-hmm.
an example of this would be like you got Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and then you have Miles Morales. That butt hurts a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these blurs out here who get really upset because they love Miles Morales, but people need to realize that he is an example of this trope. But
Mm-hmm.
people don't realize that because he's still under that husk of being some form of a Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's like first design, or at least the one that was portrayed in the mainstream media, was Peter Parker, who was a white dude. So that's what I
Right.
mean by that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the other thing that I see a lot in media is this thing that I call the playing both sides agenda. Now,
Okay.
that bounces off of the black carbon copy trope, specifically race swaps in this case, and I'm going to tell you why. So, have you ever noticed that anytime you see a race swap, the first thing that happens is it'll get a lot of controversy, and then everybody will say, look at all these racist white nerds, they're so upset because they see a black version of whatever character being portrayed, but then that's the
Right.
only focus. Like, what people are not, what they're missing from this is that there's two sides to it, which is why one of the reasons why it's called playing both sides. So one
Mm-hmm.
side is you got racist white nerds who are mad at this image, but they're not looking at the other side, which is that you have these white liberals who typically are the creators of these images. They already know what they're exposing these black characters to, specifically the actors or actresses who play the race swap. And
Yes.
so they profit off of them. They meet a diversity checkbox because they portrayed a black character. And then it's again taking black intellectual property and using it for profits while not really giving very much back to that actor or actress or black people in general. So there's
Right.
really two sides to it. And I think Neely Fuller Jr. has talked about this before. But like you have sometimes where the white supremacist will play oppressor, but also play supporter at the same time. So
Yes.
that's one thing I see quite often too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's definitely going on. And the other example to that is the Little Mermaid.
Yes.
When they had the black girl playing, I forget her name, one of the Bailey girls. I hope I'm saying that right.
Mhm.
They played the Little Mermaid, and they went crazy on that young girl.
Mhm.
And they do that all the time. No, every time there is a race swap, um, they and the people who create the characters know that that's going to happen.
Yep.
Like you said, they know that's going to happen, but they don't care, and they've never cared though. And this is where we get back to what are our solutions to solve that, right?
Mhm.
So that's where we have to start. You know, it's a fine line because
Mhm.
I understand it, because in one light we want to really solve these problems, right? And we want to create our own and do our own. But the problem is the machine has gotten so big that when you do that, unless you have multi-million dollar backings and different things like that,
Mhm.
chances are you're not going to get too much, you know, airplay or whatever you want to call it. You're not going to
Yep.
make it in theaters. A lot of this stuff is locked up. They're like resources, just like they lock up the resources in the land. All of these resources in media and resources in every area of activity are locked up, like 85% of them. And I'm using that from what Dr. Claude Anderson would say.
For sure.
85% of the resources are locked up and we don't have any access to them. So if
Hmm.
we don't play their game, we don't get, we don't get seen. We don't have our actors in anything now because they'll shut it all out.
Hmm.
So I think it's a fine line, but I expect that from the dominant society. I expect them to attack that.
Yep.
Because nothing has ever been solved with any of this, and this is the whole reason why you do what you do. It's the whole reason why I do what I do. The conversation's never been had for this country, in this country, about what they have done to our nation of people.
Hmm.
And this is why we have all of this stuff. This is why that Birth of a Nation was so powerful. And one of the sisters or brothers, I think, that they interviewed about that movie back then said, you know America loves racism. So now that we see that through Birth of a Nation, that birthed a whole genre of cinema. Like, that's what everything's based off.
Hmm.
All the cinema is based off of that movie, that
Yeah.
first movie that they put out. And it's not going to stop. You know what I mean? And we did, at the time, we were doing things to affect it and stop it because there was a demand for it, right?
Hmm.
Our people wanted a demand to see themselves on the screen. They wanted to see themselves in a better light. And some of our brilliant brothers and sisters, we are the bag Black American greatness and greats. Um, our greatness put that together despite all the odds that we dealt with then. They still put it together and put these films out. And they had a nerve to even call the films that we put out race films.
Hmm.
So how
That's
is
true.
our film? Yeah, how's our film a race film when y'all are the ones don't want us in your film? Like,
Right.
but our film's the race film.
Hmm.
So it's just, this is the stuff that they do to, it's just the technology that they use to try to confuse us and keep us distracted. And as long as they can do that, they can continue profiting off of us.
For sure. You're absolutely right about that. That first part of that conversation, the first part of what you said brings me back to something that Claude Anderson said in one of his speeches. He was
Hmm.
talking about how although we have a bunch of holidays, there's not really any holidays that are truly for Black people that we have, in America, or anywhere really, but in America. And he also said, kind of to your point, that although there's no authenticity in our holidays, that we still have to have some form of culture. So there's nothing wrong with us, celebrating something like a Juneteenth and that type of thing, because it gives us like something to at least, start with before we can actually kind of create our own thing. So when you said that,
Hmm.
it kind of brought me to that conversation where, you know, although we want to create our own and we should aim to create our own, there is a maldistribution of resources. So
Hmm.
in a lot of these instances, we're going to have to kind of play the game a little bit in order
Yeah.
for us to get authentic Black content out into the more of the mainstream, because a lot of the stuff that we see, it's like fragments of things that are authentic, but we don't really see regular authenticity. We don't see us, being portrayed properly all the time. It's something that you really have to dig for. Like, you might find, a character who, you really resonate with, or you might see one time where they portray a Black couple, but, often it's that's not what we see. So we have
And
to
then when
hold on
they
to
do
those
do
things
that,
too.
they end up killing the father
Yep. That's
every
another
time.
trope
Yep.
though. That's another trope.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Every
that's
time.
that's what I would call the Black martyr trope. That's when
Mm.
they take like a so let me tell you what I think what I believe the root is, just from what I see. The root
Hmm.
of that is that while the dominant society tries to make us seem like we're thugs, we're not honorable, we're stupid, all this other stuff, they have a low-key admiration for us as well too at the same time. And that admiration could almost turn into jealousy to a certain extent. And so what they tend to do is show that, hey, these black people have been honorable in a lot of situations, but we can't let them know that they're that honorable. So we're going to give them as little screen time as possible. So whenever they have a honorable black male character specifically, they're really worried about like black males more than anybody.
Right,
And
right.
they'll
Right.
portray that character so that because it goes along with the story, but then
Mhm.
they'll, like you said, kill them off. Because we've seen that before, right? We've seen it in Raising Dion. We've seen it
Mhm.
in Princess and the Frog, right? And
Mhm.
Loki, we're kind of seeing it in Black Panther. Let's be real. We're seeing it in Black Panther. So
I
it's
haven't
like,
watched
yeah,
it lately, but
yeah, yeah. It's lately it hasn't been worth watching. Let's put it like that.
I believe you. I stopped watching it when they started going with the LGB thing with the kids or with one of the kids or whatever.
Hmm.
I was just like, this is getting on my nerves, you know. And I don't have anything against anybody, you guys. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not saying it to say it that way, but it's just like, why
yeah,
every single show,
yeah,
every single time we're being betrayed, like one of us have to just be that. Like that's just not reality.
for sure. No,
It's
you're
not
right about
reality.
that. Let me go
Not
to these.
especially not our reality.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that for sure. Let me go to these comments real quick.
Okay.
Let me see here. Slender Sporty, what's happening? She
Peace
says
and love.
exactly. What'd
Yeah.
you say?
Queens up. I said queens up to the queen.
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely. They, in quotations, put a name to everything. We need to make sense of these things ourselves. I think my favorite
Yeah.
part of this comment right here is that she put they in quotations because we already know we know she talked about the dominant society. We already know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah, like the secret's out on them. I mean, whatever secret they felt they had, the bag is out, you know.
yep,
The cat's out the bag. And that's one thing for sure. I am happy to see a lot of us you know, realizing this and, you know, obviously coming together on the grassroots level to really, you know, do things to fight back against this kind of stuff.
for sure. No, I agree with that. I like that a lot of us are
Yep.
waking up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
basically it. Yep.
yep. Great conversation.
Facts.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
One Piece Luffy powers comes from Jamaica God Joy Boy. I still haven't seen One Piece like that. A lot of people keep telling me to watch it. I'm gonna watch it too
What's
because I'm
that?
curious about what tropes are in it because I haven't really dug into a lot of anime besides like Dragon Ball Z and a little bit of like Yu-Gi-Oh, you know.
Yeah.
So I need to check it
I'll
out.
stop it. I stop at the Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I feel it. Look, this is the thing about me. I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but although I like always call myself the pro black blurred king, I feel like I'm
Mhm.
kind of like I would call myself like a halfway blurred. And what I mean by that is I'm a black nerd, but I have like a limit to my like nerdiness. It's
Right.
like here's the thing, like if I talk to somebody who's not a nerd, they're probably like not gonna be too keyed into what I'm talking about. So if I talk about something like Dragon Ball Z or like something like Yu-Gi-Oh, like I said, or Pokemon, they may not be too privy to it. You know, they may know
Mhm.
surface level stuff, but nothing deep like I may be able to talk about. But then I
Right.
get around some nerds and they talk about all these different animes. Like I watched Inuyasha or whatever. I'm like, what in the hell is that? Like,
I actually know what that is because my daughter watched that. So
got you.
I do
Okay.
know what that is.
Got you. Yeah. Like I
Yep,
didn't.
but you're right. Yeah, it's different levels. People are on different levels with it.
Yeah, that's why I always say I'm like a halfway blurred. Like I'm too nerdy for like the people who are not nerds, but not nerdy enough for like the true nerds. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You're
Let's
the
see.
you know you're the balance there. You're the right. You're the perfect balance in between.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's see here. That is a nice shirt. Yeah, it
Thank
is.
you,
That's a dope
Queen.
shirt. That's what I'm
Thank
saying.
you so much, Queen. Be smartclothing.com, guys. smartclothing.com.
Did you put it in the comments yet?
I tried, but it won't let me. I don't know if it's because it's a link. I don't know what's going on with the comments. I
Yeah,
can put
that's a
it in
little
a
bit
private
weird.
chat. Maybe you have to do it. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll put
I
it
can
back here for you. And if not, just you can just put it in like the description, you know?
most
No
definitely.
big
I
deal.
got you. Most definitely. Let's
No
see here.
biggie. All good.
Vagrant. Hi, Colas. Hey, Queen Bee. What's popping, Vagrant? How you doing?
Peace, Vagrant. Salute.
She said Holly.
Hallie,
I
she's
think you were
yeah,
trying to
she's talking
figure
about
out, Leah. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep. Because you said the
Queens on
Bailey
point.
sisters, which that was right though.
Yeah,
That is who they
yep.
were.
Because Holly and Chloe. See, I was like, did I get their last name right?
Yep, most
I'm still on
definitely.
point.
Most definitely. Late but here. Good evening to Kukolas and Taylor BTV. B1. B1 family. Appreciate you coming
Absolutely.
through.
Absolutely. B1. Peace and
Yeah.
love, family.
Better late than never, right? Let's
A
see
little
here.
late's okay with me.
Yeah, it's cool with me too. Shoot, as long as you show up, you know?
Right.
Let's see here. How about Tubi? When you say how about Tubi, are you talking about like what are my opinions? What are our opinions? Like I just want to make sure I understand your question. Let's see here. There's a strong argument that Birth of a Nation was the first superhero movie. I kind of like elaborate on that. What's the whole argument? I'm curious now. Now that you said that.
And I want to make clear that I believe is he talking about like, because I think that there was like some type of updated Birth of a Nation that was made that was based on a Nat Turner story or
Mm-hmm.
something. Is that true? I don't
I
know
thought
if it's
so.
named the same thing, but hopefully he's not, and he may be talking about the one from 1915 by D.W. Griffith. That's the one that I'm referring to. It was basically the first movie that got Cool Colas into making tropes for media. Because if
Yep.
they didn't make that movie and start that movement with that movie, we wouldn't have to sit here. Well, we might still have to do it, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that was the kickoff. That was the kick. That movie was the kickoff. Family. That was the first movie that they made that was really like depicting us in that light, in that stereotypical light.
Yeah. I think it was the kickoff of when they started putting in these these kind of more hidden covert negative images. Cause like I think before that we would see these blatant racist images of ourselves like blackface and all this other stuff, especially if you look at like Disney movies.
Hmm.
But what I would say is
Right,
that
right, right, right.
you're right about what you said about Birth of a Nation. I would say the catalyst to keeping us maybe calm from not talking about it would be like black exploitation. And the reason why I
Yes,
say that it's so because
it
it happened like
pacified us.
around like the 60s, you know, of course going into the
Hmm.
70s, you know, that was a time period where a lot of, you know, there were a lot of uprisings all over the nation. I mean, you had all these riots, you had it in Detroit, you had it, you know, in Harlem, I believe, you had it in Benton Harbor. You had like riots all over the nation, right? And black
Right.
people were rioting against racial injustice and all this other stuff, right? And so they used black exploitation to calm the energy because they thought that we was going to knock them all over. So that
Yes.
was the first form of pacification. Now, what we see today is a much more nuanced form of pacification, but I think that was like the start of it. People just didn't realize it because a lot of us we saw that and we were like, okay, they put us in fly clothes, they done gave us cars, they done gave us like these big old afros, you know what I'm saying? Like people were fly. And that's like a big thing for us, like especially as foundational black Americans, looking nice, you know, looking
Yes.
cool
It's part
and
of our
having like a
culture.
cool aesthetic, you know?
Yeah, it's a part of our culture, absolutely.
Hmm.
And I mean, with black exploitation films, there was a balance with them to me.
Sure.
It had some good and bad, like you said. It did
Mhm.
put us, some of it was us being in like strong leading roles and stuff like that. So that part of it was good to see. But then some of it, they took it too far, of course, and once they get their hands on it, they alter it, tamper it, and water it down. And we know they did that because of the unrest that was going on in the 60s, with during the civil rights movement. And that's how that was born, right? So of course
Yeah.
they're gonna do that. And then again, going back to the very first thing is you put these images through cinema because it's so powerful. And this is the
Hmm.
problem why we do have to really, like why what you do is so important and why we have to really start building our own. That's why I love what Tyreek does with putting
Yeah.
the hidden colors out and all that kind of stuff. Like those are the things that we have to do because one thing that I look at too is, I'm just going to put it out there. Like I wish we didn't integrate.
Yeah.
I wish there was no integration, right? So
Hmm.
if there was no integration, we would have our own movie production companies and all that kind of stuff. Now, that's not to say that however things might of coalesced that some of us might have went over to the other side or whatever, whatever.
Hmm.
But that's just to say we had our own. So
Hmm.
we have our own, and then we have options. If we want that option, we can use it, but we always have our own. And I think that's where we always kind of we get stuck at for ourselves. Because there's so many barriers. To that. And it's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of, us supporting each other too.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of different things that go into that. And that's just kind of the way that I look at that. But yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta combat what they do and just do our own thing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the whole point. We just gotta do our own thing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
to me, they're never gonna be fair to us in the way they portray us in media. They don't like us. Like you said earlier, it gets to the point where they do have admiration for us. They're we know what Francis Cress Welsing's work said. They're afraid of the genetic annihilation, right?
Yeah.
So it's just at the end of the day, it has turned into a jealousy. It has turned into a hatred that is so deep and systemic that it permeates everything they do. And whether they even know they're doing it or not, sometimes it's just a part of their nature,
Yeah.
and it's never going to change. They're never going to do right by us in film or no area of activity, and that's why we got to get our own and create our own areas of activity. Where we can compete with them. That's
Yeah.
what I'm ready for.
Most definitely. The one thing that you said about that I definitely resonate with is the thing that you said about integration. Matter of fact,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think just about everybody who's in this chat probably agrees with you, including myself.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of
Yeah.
us feel that way,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know,
And
except for the
that's the
ones that are swirling.
you're right. Right, exactly. Exactly.
Except for
Um,
them. They don't got to come. Listen, this, like we say, the code is the leader. So it's not always about your color. Obviously, we know there's the majority of us on the planet Earth, right? So,
yeah.
but everybody, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, right? So it's about your mindset. It's about, are you on code to
Hmm.
do what's best for our nation? Going
Yeah.
back to what you said, if we don't understand our history and understand those things that have happened to us, this is what makes people not be on code.
Hmm.
See, you get on code, but I mean, really, it's easy to get on code because once you see everything that they've done to us and the stuff that they're continuing to do, and you really open your eyes to it, if you don't get on code, then you are the op too.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the code is a leader. So the people who want to swirl and who love that, if you love it, great, good for you. But the people who are on code, that's why we just gotta delineate that way.
Hmm.
Not even obviously lineage, yeah, that's important, but it's going to be others that aren't of our lineage that are on code with us that are going to want to build up with us, and we can't leave. Those are still our brothers and sisters. We're a cosmic family. You know what I'm saying? We are a cosmic family, and but it's mindset. It's mindset because we know, and this is what I always say about everything, justice on earth and all that. Like, we're going to be the ones to lead us into justice. You know what I'm saying? Black
Yeah.
Americans, we're the only ones, the true fighters of justice. We're the true freedom fighters of justice.
Most definitely.
Everybody else, has and some of us have the capability to want to bootlick with the dominant society,
Oh
but
yeah.
most of us don't because we know them so well. Like when you know
Hmm.
your enemy so well, you know not to play with them. And our parents, I think for at least our generation,
Hmm.
we've seen a lot. The ones that know a lot, and if you know it and you see that and you see how it affects your people, and you would be on code with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at it too.
Hmm.
But I would never leave people behind just because whatever. It's about the mindset. So
Yeah.
I love all of us. You know what I'm saying? And I call us, you guys. Y'all don't, if y'all not familiar with my channel, the people on, like, he's got the cool cola verse.
Yeah.
What do you call
Cool
your people?
click.
I call, what are the cool click?
That's what I call. That's what I call
Yeah.
everybody who like I
Yeah.
have connections with the cool click.
Yeah. The cool click. So you're
Yep.
just like his cool click. I call y'all us. We're the universal supreme. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Then that's us. That stands for us, right? The universal supreme. So all of us that are on
Love it.
that like minded be one, you know what I'm saying, on code. That's all it takes. It don't, you don't, you know, it ain't, it is for our reparations and all that. Yes, that's lineage based. Like that's end of story. That's, you know, but like I said, family, we got to start understanding and seeing things on different levels.
Hmm.
Everything don't require a straight line to, for us to treat everything a straight line. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been through too much. There's too many variables. There's ups and downs, and we got to really have grace with each other. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, because we all we got at the end of the day. Nobody's
Hmm.
holding none of us down except us.
Hmm. Most
None of
definitely.
it. No other race, ethnicity, culture, we hold it down, and then the ones that are with us, and we love them, you know what I'm saying, and we going, they are part of our family too. But when you ain't, and that's when you're going to get whatever treatment you're going to get. You're
Hmm.
going to get the sword, you know what I'm saying. So that's what it is,
Hmm.
because when you standing on business, that's what it is. Anybody got to get that sword when it's time, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you just got to stay to what's true, and fight for your family. Like if ain't nothing
Yeah.
else, I'm fighting for my lineage, yo. Like I didn't seen too
Right.
much. I'm too close to it. Like, you know, my father was born in 1921.
Mm.
You know, so my great grandmother, I mean, my grandmother, just my
Hmm.
grandmother, you know, had, you know, they were susceptible, you know, all of us,
Hmm.
all of them were, but I'm just saying, like, when it's that close to,
Yeah.
that's when it's like that line is right there, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to let nobody like stop nothing that I'm doing to empower my community.
Hmm.
And I don't even call it a community no more. I say nation, because we are a nation, you
For
know what I'm
sure.
saying? We are a nation of people, and people
Yeah.
going to recognize that, and they going to respect it. They already steal everything we got anyway and do everything and try to cosplay us.
Hmm.
And I wanted to get to that, what you said about how they allow others from the diaspora to play us our roles in the movies.
Yeah.
That's because they know of our spirit, and they know that they're scared of the unrest still. They're still
Hmm.
scared that we're going to do a revolution on them, or whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, upheaval. You know, they're scared. They remember them 60s. They remember them hot summers of the 60s, them hot, you know, that red summer and all that stuff. They remember all that, and
Yeah.
our people coming for what's ours, you know what I'm saying? And we'll
For
tear this
sure.
thing down, and they know that. So
Yeah.
they don't let us play those roles, because they know if we play those roles, we can invoke that at any moment.
Hmm.
We can invoke it, and they don't want that being
Yeah.
portrayed on film because they know how powerful it is.
For sure. I know, and I was gonna say, because I know Tariq has talked about that before, and I agree with him. And I think too,
Hmm.
they know that because they don't have that same spirit and they don't have that same camaraderie, that this is just another role for them. This is just another day for
Yes,
them. It's just another
and it
opportunity
is,
for them. But
and
what
it
they're
is
yeah, they're not trying to be, conscious of is like how that actually impacts like us, because we know like our history and the things we
right.
actually have been through. So when they play these types of roles, there's like a total uninvestment, like a divestment from
Yes.
knowing what that was about. And the other thing I was going to say too, I want to go back to the thing I was going to say about integration before I get into that real quick. The thing that integration bred, which people don't realize, is that it bred this idea of like what I would call maybe toxic individuality. Like everybody is so hell bent on trying to be a success for themselves. So there's
Yes.
not really a focus on building for like-minded people. And I think
Right.
that that's the problem when it comes with Black people, because a lot of us now have been just taking extremities to both sides.
Mhm.
We've had it where you have people who are like Black unity no matter what. That's when you get into all that Pan-Africanness shit and stuff like that. And then you have the other
Mhm.
side where people are just sambos and they're like, I'm getting mine, you go get yours, and it's that type of thing. So, I think that it's kind of bred more of that, like extremities, and then a lot of just individualism. Then it's bred, us unifying because we're on the same, accord. When we were, when our people were alive during a time of segregation and all that, and I know that they were honored to do it, but they were at a time where they were pretty much forced to work together in order to have survival. So now,
Yes.
because that's not a socially
A
accepted thing,
requirement.
yeah, it's not a
It's not a
requirement.
requirement no
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, it's not a
It,
requirement. So
I'm
like now they're embracing this more individualistic aspect. So
yes.
when people like you and me, we have this type of conversation, I mean, people are like, well, that was back in the past, yada yada, and this and that. So I'm definitely with you on the unity thing, because you can't take everybody with you. because some of
Right.
those Negroes are going to sink the ship. Let's be real.
Yeah, and I don't even want them all there. I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like
saying.
you ain't worthy to be there. Like I said,
Yeah,
you
you're going to
ain't.
sink the
It.
ship.
Yeah, it's about your mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And we know that because we know that. And what do our master teachers always teach us, bro? To follow logic.
Yep.
If we look throughout our history and we follow logic, we always know it was one of us that sold one of us out for some trinkets. And we
Hmm.
still do that to this day. You know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
exists, that energy exists. And that's why what I want the family to get more in tune with astronumerology and
Yeah.
visit me on my site and all that. And come get your numbers, family. Come get your keys. I call them your personal universal keys to the universe. We all
Hmm.
have our own personal set of keys. You know what I'm saying? And it's the keys to help us unlock our success and be in the right place at the right time. Know when not to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? And it's very
Hmm.
simple.
Yeah.
That you can understand it and follow it, and it will give you results. But I'm a big component of that, bro. And
Yeah.
I really think that you know a lot of it's all by design. I think what I
Mhm.
want to touch on, because you said the individualism, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The individualism is from what you said it was, and it's also a result of this matrix that they have us living in. It's this
Mhm.
technology, it's the social media, it's all of that. It's the
Yeah.
images that are put in our face to be that way. It's
Mhm.
the showing everything on social media of of course everyone has arguments and fights with each other, but how come all we see on social media is black men and black women like they got some type of gender divide?
Yeah.
It's like there may be things going on, but you guys, they portray that and they force that on us.
Mhm.
So now you're portraying the thought that there's a gender divide. And now when young people interact with each other, that's the way that they're coming for each other.
Most definitely.
So it perpetuates itself into a cycle. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Yeah.
it goes back to the way that we've always been portrayed. It goes back to the never having these conversations and never producing justice, producing correctness, fairness,
Mhm.
and balance, and treating and giving the people that need the most help the help. And that would be us. And that ain't even giving us nothing. We are owed a debt and we need our reparations. And they until they do that, that's why it's always going to be messed up like this.
Mhm.
And this is the
Yeah.
whole point. They don't want us. They never have, but they just want to use us, and they
Yeah.
need us because without us, without the inferior, how can you be superior?
For sure.
So if
They're
they step
using.
on,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick, like because you made a really good point. They're using exploitation to try to create reality. So, in other
Yes,
words, when they exploit these problems between black men and black women, they try to make it seem like there's an issue that's bigger than what it actually is. So, yeah,
right,
you may have some Negroes who are going back and forth with women and stuff like that, but then like they'll make it seem like it's a big, overarching problem that is
right.
not really there, or it's not there as bad as they're making it seem. But by talking about it over and over again, it creates a problem. So don't get me wrong, there are issues and there are certain things, like for example, the way that feminism has impacted, the community and has caused, those issues between us and whatnot. And you can see that even through
Yes.
media. They
Hmm.
exploit it more, on social media, so it's actually a bigger deal than what it actually is. So
Yep.
to
And
your
that's all you
point, I
see on
agree
all
with
the
that for sure.
podcast rounds, all the
What do you
little
say?
podcast rounds, all the media little blog rounds that they do. That's all you'll
Yeah.
see then. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, most
That's all
definitely.
you'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure.
Hmm.
Let me see what some of these people were saying here. Let's see here.
I
The
hope they're
problem
all
is,
liking the conversation.
yeah, I see. It's a lot of comments over here. I was like, dang, I kind of missed a whole bunch. Uh, the problem is they don't know how to include them without forcing said lifestyle on us and portraying it as the vast majority of FBA. I agree with that 100%. When it
Hmm.
comes to some of these things that we see, especially if you see like they portraying black characters who are LGBT, or you see interracial couples and stuff like that. It's like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Like for me, I don't like, hate on people who, that's your lifestyle, that's your lifestyle. But I think
Right.
they force it upon us because they're using it as a tool to impact us. I've always said too, like even with the whole LGBT thing, I make it very clear. I don't have no problems with people who are LGBT. I actually think that we as black people should actually embrace our brothers and sisters who are part of that community, especially
Yes.
knowing that there's a lot of them, or there's some of them, at least I'll say some of them, there's some of them who have actually done things that have been effective towards the community. Because you have to think about
Hmm.
people like James Baldwin, who've always like,
Yes.
stood 10 toes down for foundational Black Americans, for Black people.
Yes.
So I say that, but I also think we need to put context to it. There's a difference between not wanting a gay person there just because they're gay, and knowing that there is a literal agenda out there to impact people, via media. I think those are two different things. So
Right.
I agree with your comment there, Reparations Nation. Let's see here. Nate Parker's version was absolutely great. American Skin was good until the end. I have to go back and I have to watch American Skin. I saw it, but I need to like relook at it and analyze it and all that. So I'm glad you brought that back up. I may do a video on it even. Opinion
I
of
gotta
two.
I gotta watch some of these shows you are talking about.
Yeah. American Skin was a movie. I need to go
Okay.
back and I need to watch it. Like I saw it. I saw most of it, but I don't think I saw the end. That's why I'm saying I need to go back and look at it, because I'm curious to see what I would dig up from looking at it now through a like fresh set of eyes. So,
Right.
opinion of Tubi being a platform for us. Do you think we can colonize Tubi? Not an experience blurred. I think Tubi is just a big old minstrel show for Black people
Who
right now.
owns Tubi? I don't think we own Tubi.
We
Do we?
don't, like Jewish
Yeah,
people.
like
We don't.
right.
So
Like so this is the point. Like they own that, but then they and see this is the thing. They do love us and they love our culture and they know it sells, right? They know
mhm.
that they can get people to watch it and buy things or whatever the case. So
Yep.
they use us. And then they use us to further relay the message of the tropes, of the agendas, of the stereotypes that they want the masses to continue to believe of us. And a lot of us are very complicit in that.
Yep.
And I'm going to even take that a step further and, looking at even our modern day people who have the ability to do this, like Tyler Perry.
Hmm.
Now, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna hate on the brother because he is employing a lot of brothers and sisters. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? He do give a lot of employment opportunities, and that's money created in our community, right?
Hmm.
I hope that it's going in our community the right way.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that he portrays, like people are tired of it. We're tired of seeing, and that's why I kind of said, just see us in a normal light. Like I don't, I'm tired of all this, like all these problems, and I mean, of course, people have problems and stuff, but like, can't we have something wholesome? It's like
Yeah.
everything got to always be some type of ghetto, fabulous, or
Right.
problem ridden, like something like trope. I'll just
Yeah.
use your
Yeah.
word. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I
Like
agree
so we're guilty of it ourselves. You see what I'm saying? So
for
then
sure.
we get these companies, and now we falling into the trap too. So it's not helping, and that's why I said it's about your mindset.
I agree with that.
He right now could
Yeah.
choose to change all around all the way he does his movies. He could choose to change it and do it in a different light, but
Most definitely.
it's not going
I
to sell as much. So
I think I was going to say that with Tyler Perry, but I think for him, he knows his target audience and
yes,
he's using that to make profits. Now,
yes,
even him having his little like fit that he had when he was talking about how, the highbrow Negroes like don't like what I do and stuff like that. Like, even though he was doing all that, that's still playing into him appealing to his audience, which are actually more simple minded Negroes who actually just want to see something that has Black people in it and drama and all that, and they're just eating it up. But what I was gonna say is I wanted to actually go back to something else that you said that I think is really cool, and this it goes into something you said you do. The numerology thing I think is really cool, because one thing I've actually talked about before is how
cool,
we really need to learn what our skills are and what we're good at. Because, like, when we go to school, we grow up, those types of things, we don't really get a good chance to really learn like what it is we're good at. We just try to find what works or do things just so we can make it. But there's a lot of untapped skills that a lot of our people have, and there hasn't really been a proper mechanism to bring those things out. So I think that what you're doing is actually very effective, and it goes into education to a certain extent, because as you help people to learn about themselves, they can start to pursue different passions, different careers, different skills that actually are best for them. Because a lot of times your personality and the things about you say a lot about what you actually would excel at. So I'm
Hmm.
glad that you do that. And I definitely would encourage you to keep doing that, because that's something I think a lot of us will need, especially when it comes to us, doing things that are constructive. So definitely big ups to you
Yes.
on doing that. If nobody
Thank
said,
you. Thank
yeah.
you, brother. And I would tell your people in the audience, come holler at me about it. Come check out my Numbers Matter podcast and see how you like it.
Hmm.
If you feel so fancy, throw your birthday in the chat and I'll give you your personal universal code and drop you a little jewel. So I'm even willing to do that with the people in the chat right now, just because my whole thing is I want the family to embrace it. I want them to start using it and see the difference, because you notice a difference. You notice a difference, and you can just really tune into yourself and get to know yourself better, and understand what your natural talents, skills, and abilities are, and know what you're in opposition to, because some of the things
Yeah.
that we're trying to do might be in opposition to us, or the time that we're trying to do it might be in an opposition time to us, and then we get
Mm,
so frustrated, and it could lead to mental illness or different things like that, or physical illness, anything, when you're trying to do
mm,
something and you get stuck or stifled. But sometimes it's just not happening for you because the tide is not there for you to do that. So it's just really, and the other thing that I'll say about it is, this is our metaphysical science.
mhm.
This is a melanated metaphysical science,
Yeah.
started in Chaldea. So, that's in Africa. You know what I'm saying? So this is our study. This is not, Pythagoras. That's just the Greek that went there to learn it
Yeah.
and took it home like they do everything else. So the family needs to know that if we want to get back to our roots, this is how we do it, family. This
Mhm.
is what they use.
Mhm.
This is how they have been able to dominate the way they have too, and control a lot of the things that they control, and use that energy, because they know our sciences. They know all of our sciences. Just like the brother said, they using our gods and all that for the media portrayals. They using our sciences to keep us in our own slumber.
Mhm.
So the more that we wake up to that, and that's going to transform us individually. What, my whole spiel, you transform yourself, and then your family, then that's into your community, your local community, and then as a nation, this how we all come together like-mindedly, because we're all doing the right thing, and we can all, ain't no more jealousy and envy and hate of nobody else. Because also, once you understand, all of this is just frequency, family. All of us are just frequencies. Once you
Mhm.
understand your frequency and understand which ones are in opposition to you, you ain't gonna, it's not gonna get to you the way it might have gotten to you in the past. Cause now you know, and you be like,
Mhm.
yo, I'm just gonna go this way. Bro, I see bros acting like that right now. Let me give him his space. And
Mhm.
this is the grace and the understanding that the family needs to start getting with each other. So
Mhm.
that's y'all getting to know more about really what Queen Bee does. I empower our people, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I want to let all the family know that I am working on my book, The Universal Supreme Guide to Cultural Transformation.
Tell
You know what
them.
I'm saying? I got the title finally down, so I'm excited to bring that to the family, because it's going to really revolutionize the way we do things, and I'm going to be dropping gems in there and giving jewels and all that. So, like I said, hit me up. Put your birthday. Be surprised. Put your birthday. You're not gonna put your year. Just put your day and your month in there, and I'm gonna give you your stuff. And I might even do it
Oh,
for
it's
bro
gonna be
before we
interesting.
get done. But I'll let him continue, because I know my brother got a lot more to go.
No, you're good. You're good. No, that's gonna be interesting. I was gonna say, where can we actually find your book? Can we get it from you directly, or is it are you gonna have it on Amazon? How are you gonna be distributing it?
So I planned and intend to distribute it on Amazon.
Mhm.
Most likely you'll also be able to get it from me myself, because I don't like a lot of middleman stuff. As
Mhm.
you know, I do everything independently, in the way that I gotta build it. You know what I mean? So I just build my stuff up, and so I'll probably have my own copies and stuff that I'll have, that I'll sign for people and all of that. But yeah, I intend to release it through Amazon, and I do intend to release it later on this year, most likely around my born day. So
Cool.
yep,
I love it.
start my reputation cycle off with a bang.
Cool. I love it. I think that's gonna be great. I'm gonna have
Hmm.
to get my copy of your book as well too once it comes out.
Thank you, brother.
Of course, of course, of course. All right.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I see another comment here. That's most of us on cold blurs. I think I skipped this one. That's most of us on cold blurs, not nerdy enough to be too nerdy for some. Yeah,
Yes.
that's really how it goes. And the other thing I think it is too, at least my opinion, I think that some of us who are blurs, but we just don't go that far. The reason why is
Yes.
because if you get too caught up in nerdiness, it turns into escapism. That, or at least that's the root of where I think it goes. So
Mhm.
we get to a point where we get so caught up in these different endeavors. Like they're cool to get into. It's cool. But I think sometimes we get so caught up in it, we use it as a tool to not deal with reality. It's a way to escape, have fun, chill, kick back, and talk about something that's just not so heavy. But then when you realize that a lot of stuff you watch, it's got tropes in it, it's got
Yeah.
negative messages in it, it's got all this other stuff in it, then you are forced to address it. And then you get to a point where if you don't address it, you become complicit in allowing it to happen. So that's why I
Hmm.
say, like, I think that some of it deals with, like you said, Reparations
Yes.
Nation being on code, because if you just get too deep into it and you're just so into that and you never talk about the negative things that happen, then it just leads to escapism and you just don't address anything. So I agree with you
Right.
100% for that alone. And then what
I
is this
think
here?
my blurred level is like a little under yours, bro. I'm not as blurry as you. I'm a blurred, but I'm not,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got our levels to it though, it's
yeah.
levels.
Would you say you're like what? Maybe like a 4 out of 10 on the blur scale? What would you say?
I'd say a 4 is good for me. Yeah. A 4 out of 10. I think that's accurate.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm if I had to put myself on that scale, I'd probably put myself at maybe like a 6.5, maybe 7.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely not a
I will
10.
put
There's just
you,
some stuff I really don't know like that, but I
yeah,
have like specific things I get into and that I actually like when I have time to get into them, but just
right.
not everything.
Exactly. Not
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Let's see. Birth of a Nation. A soldier was saw black people raping white women, and the corrupt government did nothing. So he rose up and formed the Klan. That set up that setup of a man having to take the law into his own hands. And then I think his next comment here says it's basically a superhero template. I see what you're saying. I see why you would say it's a superhero template, but I would also argue that a lot of times when they make these superhero movies and TV shows, they almost make it somewhat like soap opera ish, so it can kind of be somewhat related to real life. So a lot of times they'll add elements that you may see in just a regular sitcom. So I think that that's the template that they. I can see why it's almost beyond belief, and that's what makes it superhero esque. But I think the other piece of it is that like the drama aspect of it is something that you see in regular sitcoms as well too. So I think it's those two things kind of blending into each other. But either way, to your point, I definitely agree with you. Let's see
This
here.
is good stuff, bro. I
This
love it.
is I'm
Yeah.
these comments are definitely hidden, like, and
Yeah.
they're bringing
And
up things that
this is the thing. We need more conversations like this. You see everybody saying this conversation, because this is what we got to do, guys. Like, and even
yeah,
if we got to do it on a level through YouTube because of our limited resources, then this is what we got to do. But we got to do it and be able to make sure we tune in with each other, like how you got your cool click and everyone tunes in and they
yep,
support you. We got to start doing that for each other, for obviously for what's your cup of tea.
yeah,
But because this is where it starts at. It's grassroots, baby. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? And you never know what you can get it to turn into. Because of course we know how resilient we are. So,
most
when
def,
enough of us get together, you get enough of the cool click, man, we can put our money together and go buy a building.
most
And then
definitely.
that's where you can start your production company for you know, your comic series and all that kind of stuff. You
Most
know,
definitely. One thing I've
how
talked
you start.
about, I haven't had a chance to like really have a deep conversation with you about this, but I
Mhm.
talked to other creators who are like me, who like think a lot like us. And one of the things that I want to do at some point is have like some type of networking retreat type of thing where maybe we a lot of us who have these different skills, we could, get together, have like vendor tables, like, you know, you have products that you can sell and stuff like that, but then also have like speakers and stuff like that. So we can do networking with each other, and we can kind of share
Mhm.
our, you know, ideas, and maybe even, like I said, just have like things where people can build certain skills and stuff like that. I sound like I'm spinning wheels, but my point here is I think that we need something where a lot of us who are like-minded are able to meet up, network with each other, and then, you know, we can expand and work together. And maybe you could find somebody who is doing the thing that you need, and you can partner with them. So that's
Yes,
something that's in the works for me, you know, as I build, you
I
know, my
love that
brand, and
idea.
as I like talk to, you know, more people who are like-minded like me. But I wanted to make sure that I brought you into that conversation, because that's something that I eventually plan on doing.
Absolutely, I need to be in that conversation.
Yeah, you do.
'Cause, yeah, I'm gonna be there, and, I'm gonna be doing my thing, and, I'm gonna come through, you already know that, and I think that's a good idea because that goes back to us, and let me touch on real quick.
Yeah,
When you said we it's not required, we were talking about how we support each other, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanted to point that out to the family, that's what we gotta support each other, family, because if you notice, the only time that we were able to build wealth and build anything substantial is when we do support each other. And I'm
Hmm.
even going to take that back to obviously, pre-segregation days. I mean, in segregation days. And then up to when we get to COVID, right? When we shut down, I'm telling you, bro, I had so much support from the family during the COVID years.
Hmm.
And my stuff kind of took off. I had a lot of support from people, and people really started to come together that year, and support each other because you couldn't get things from other places. You couldn't get to the store. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. So the people online were really supporting each other real heavy, within the family. So that's the last time that I saw the support, and it started to slip away, like,
Hmm.
into 2022. Kind of, it ran through 2021, and then when 2022 when stuff started to kind of normalize, I'm
Yeah,
like, dang, ain't nobody supporting no more. I think
yeah.
it got more individualistic after COVID. Obviously, COVID was a agenda in a way for them to be able to separate us and make us feel individual.
Oh
And that
yeah,
that
most def.
also caused a lot of that too. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too. And it's so funny you brought that up. I feel like that time period also was I'm trying to
Fruitful.
describe this in a way that makes sense, but like you ever watch a TV show, and you got, and I'm gonna bring it to like maybe like a superhero show even. You ever see a show where you got like the heroes, and then like you have like the characters who are the usual villains, and this is a season in the future, right? Like a season 2, season 3, and then
Hmm.
the heroes and the villains got to team up because there's a bigger bad. Like
Yes.
I feel like that was going on in COVID, because to me, I
Yes.
feel like a lot of us, those who are on code, like the ones who think like us, I feel like we were almost thinking like some of those like right wing conservative people, like the white, like in the dominant society, who are like, oh no, I'm not taking the, you know what, and like we all were like that too. So it was almost like more of a separation, even because we were sounding like them, but that's just because we
Right.
just thought the same thing. So I feel like that added into it, so it just made it all real confusing. So it's funny you brought that
Yes.
up, because I thought about that when you said that.
Yes. And see how they be having us so confused and distractions and this and that. And this is why, we take our eyes sometimes off the prize, you know.
Yep.
But that's what we're here for, to bring people and ground them, bring them back to
Yeah,
that
most definitely.
foundation.
Most definitely.
Mhm.
So, for my next question here, what would you say is the first or maybe even best course of action that we must take to fix the media that we see, or at least make it better for us?
Damn. I'm
I hit
honestly,
you with a good question.
you really did. Um, I think more of us have to stand up for it,
For
for
sure.
what's right.
Hmm.
Because we have to start limiting and restricting our role. If they're not going to respect. boundaries that we put around our depictions or our culture, things that mean something to our nation. Um, so the more that the actors or whoever go along with it
Hmm.
and are complicit with it, then that we're not it's not going to change.
Yeah.
And then you also run into the problem that okay, they'll just do what they always did and replace us with the people from the diaspora. The Africans will come in, or the Caribbeans, or whoever, where they
Hmm.
know that they can get them to do it for whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and it won't have they won't stand up. So then now our people are losing that money. You know what I'm saying? They're losing that opportunity to take care of their family. So it's such a double-edged sword. The other part to that is us, the consumer. We can
Hmm.
stop. We gotta stop supporting that shit.
Hmm.
Excuse me. I don't know if you. I didn't mean to curse you.
No, you good.
Or
No, I
we
cuss
gotta
all the time.
stop.
Don't even apologize.
Okay, good. We gotta stop supporting it. We gotta stop supporting it because that's where that's all they respond to.
Hmm.
They only respond to the money. When their pockets get hit, that's when they start taking a closer look at things and saying, "Wait, how did we lose money on this?" And that goes back to that very first race film, not race film, that the 1915 film when they
Hmm.
said, "Oh, America loves it. They love this. Like we can make money off of this. This is what we're going to start doing." That
Hmm.
was the literal thought process. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So the more that everybody just consumes it, and because it's like a supply and demand thing too, you
Yeah.
know. So it's and that really goes back to my main thing. And like my boy Jalen Hurts, I keep the main thing the main thing. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
family unit and transforming ourselves individually to understand ourselves better, tap into and tune into our own gifts and abilities. That way, we don't even got to think about being jealous about nobody else, envious, and we can stand on our own 10 toes down on
Hmm.
our morals, on our
Hmm.
values, on our integrity. You
For
see what I'm
sure.
saying? So it all goes back to who are you as a person? We got to
Yeah.
transform our mindset, transform our heart, and really tune into our own spirit. Family, this is the time
Hmm.
for you to tune into your spirit. It's a lot going on. This whole weekend is a spiritual connotation to a lot of the things that are going on in the celestials, and as above, so below as above. So all of this stuff affects us on a cosmic level, whether we know it or not. And this is why we got to get in tune with that kind of stuff and really start looking at that. But other than that, I don't know, brother, because like I
Yeah.
said before, the dominant society ain't gonna stop.
Yeah, you're right.
They ain't gonna they like Mike, they ain't gonna stop till they get enough. Like until we stop it. So
Yeah.
it's either doing that with the pocketbook, it's either doing that with arms,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or transform ourselves, and then we won't even have the feeling to need that because we gonna gravitate to each other after that. I'm telling you,
Most
it's
definitely.
that's how spiritual and powerful this stuff is.
Hmm. Most
I'm telling
definitely.
you.
I think what you said is real, and it's definitely bringing up a lot of the things that we could face that are an issue. Especially the thing about like people still being complicit, still taking on these roles, dominant society still coming back. So I definitely agree with all that. One thing that I would
Hmm.
say is if we had to start, I really think finding like-minded people is definitely I think the
Top
first
notch,
thing that we really need to what's up? What I say?
top notch. Finding like-minded people.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Got you. Yeah, I think that the first thing that we need to do is like find like-minded people who like think like us, who really want to, create more things in entertainment. We need people who want to have their own studios. We need people who want
Hmm.
to, be writers. We need people who, want to be producers. We need people who want to like give scholarships to artists. We need all these types of things, animators, all that stuff. So we need to find
Hmm.
people who have the same mindset, who are doing all of these things, and we can put our heads together. So that's, I think, what the
Yes.
first thing is. I think things are going to kind of naturally jail too once somebody starts putting their stuff out there. And what I mean by that
Hmm.
is I think if you give the people another option, eventually they're going to see it as a thing they can do. I think you can
Yep.
make anything a brand and anything an option for people as long as you're consistent and they, see that it's something that has a track record of being successful. So I think if one of us were to put something out there like our own studio or our own projects and that type of thing, and it was grassroots funded, and we showed like movement, like there was a lot of us who were doing it, then I think that it would create something different. It would feel like people had a different alternative than to just turn to Hollywood. So I think that
Yes.
would give them, a different a different option.
Right.
So that's what I would think the next piece would be. I think the other thing too is whenever we're, inside of if there is somebody who's kind of working, within the Dom Society, working within Hollywood, that type of thing, we need people who are on code while they're there. We need more of the
Yes.
Princes and the Michael Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? We
Yes.
need we need more people who like are going to make power moves from the inside, and then they're going to take the money and the things that they, profit from, and then they'll build something constructive. So at some point, like you got to make a goal to pull away. Don't just stay
Yes.
there, keep making money, and then get wrapped up in all their stuff. So I think that it
Yes.
would be important for us to have people on all sides of the board. That way we can kind of deal with it from all sides. But there's a
Smart.
lot of ways to tackle this. But of course, there's always going to be those problems that you brought up, especially the one about, the dominant society is always going to like come for us. So
They're
that's
always
another
looming.
for sure. That it's just it's something that we're not gonna. I don't see a way where we can totally eliminate that right now, but
Hmm.
it's something to consider in the back of our minds, though.
Yep. And I
Hmm.
would say wherever you see, Black American greatness, you see the dominant society somewhere looming trying to tear it down. I mean,
You're right. Yeah,
it's in, like I said, when we look at things logically, that's what has happened historically, right? So
yeah.
but you're right. Like I love that viewpoint, and that's what I was saying. And then I want to touch on something else because this is something that the good sister Mayat said, Dr. Mayat.
Okay.
She was talking about, um, and let's just put it in context with the HBCUs.
Okay.
So the HBCUs, historically Black colleges are supposed to be for us, right? So we
Yeah.
go to these things. We produce all of these types of people: engineers, architects, mathematicians, this, the
Hmm.
that, the third. But
Hmm.
where do they go? They go into the society instead of
Yep.
us taking that back and building them up to be able to do those things for our nation and for our community. And like you said, yeah, they at first might have to go into the society because of our lack of resources or access to resources, but stay on code, go into society, get everything you can get, learn as much more as you can learn with your hands-on experience,
Hmm.
understand the business model, understand the resources, and then, like you said, have that plan wherever to be able to pull that back to the community, so it can benefit our nation as a whole. And with all of that, it'll help make us more competitive. But she had a good point that never happens. And she's saying like all these years that we had the HBCUs, we haven't seen one like institution be built or be built and sustained, based off that, so like
Yeah.
where's our Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
and this
Right.
is the thing, we have to create our own, going back to the very first thought of that 1915 movie. The response was the movie that he came out with.
Hmm.
He responded to that. He
Hmm.
responded to that with a strong response from our viewpoint. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So that's the other way we're going to be able to combat it too. We got to either do it that way, and like you said, we got to really do all of it because
Yeah.
we're under attack under so many angles. It's going to take an unconventional, outside of the box, visionary way for us to really lift ourselves out of it. So every little bit counts.
Most definitely. The other thing that I was gonna say too is I think that and I made a video about this maybe a couple months ago or so, but we also have to practice the art of dealing with being an apprentice in a lot of situations. So what I mean by
Yes.
that is a lot of times we are trying to learn certain skills, especially at our jobs, maybe from somebody we know, whatever the case is, and we'll learn these skills from people who are either they're Black like us, but they just don't. They be sandboing. I'm gonna say it like that. They be sandboing, or
We got a lot of that. And we got
yeah,
a lot of that. We know that.
yeah, or we'll learn it from somebody who's not black at all. They may be white, they may be
Mhm.
just not black or not white. They could be Hispanic,
Mhm.
whatever.
Right.
And we have to try to learn as much as we can, even if it means that we have to learn from these types of people, but then
Yes.
learn how to take those things and then use them constructively. So I think that that's a big part of it as well too, and that's why I said that we need people on the inside who are learning these different types of things and are going to put them to good use later down the line, or finding ways they can learn as much as they possibly can. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, we got to become
yeah,
Hydra.
yeah, right. That's a good analogy. Yeah, the thing is that when we're learning these new skills, we also have to kind of check ourselves a little bit too, because we want people to think like us. We want people to kind of want to move like us and that type of thing. And what I've been noticing is that some people, and I had this conversation with somebody, they'll be learning something from somebody who doesn't think like them, and then they'll get frustrated because they'll try to impose their ideas onto them, and they'll try to, if they'll go beyond just like, them learning that skill from them, they'll start kind of just saying certain things that don't really resonate. So I always tell
Yeah,
people, listen, if it gets to the point where, it starts getting personal like that, then like realize that there may be other opportunities, or you may have to look in your network of people who you do know who are like-minded, and there may be somebody else who can teach you that skill. But understand that this is a temporary thing, right?
right,
You may not always want to learn from that person because it does get very personal. But ultimately, you're there just to have that skill. You're not there to create a relationship per se with somebody
right.
who is either Samboing or somebody who's not black at all, and you're learning something from them. So I find that that's kind of a problem as well too, because there's a lot of skills that we don't have, so we have to learn them on our jobs, or like through somebody else who we may know in passing, somebody in our family, that type of thing. So I think that
Mhm.
that's kind of a problem too sometimes.
I think it is a problem, and I think also a lot of us are stubborn, and we can be hard headed sometimes. Or you have that part of it, and then you have the other part of it where you're saying, like they're trying to impose their will or thoughts on it. I think what we have to understand is not all of us, we have to separate our emotions sometimes from certain
Most
situations.
deaf.
And I'll use the example of us when we work in corporate America.
Hmm.
Because I work there, you know what I'm saying, and I deal with the crap every freaking day,
Yeah.
and it's like, I got to work twice as hard. I get stipulations put on me that other people don't have to adhere to.
Hmm.
And it gets to a point where it does beat you down, and we're human. And
Yeah.
we're emotional people anyway. We're spiritual people.
Yeah.
We're very emotional. We have a lot of trauma that we've dealt with, that we continue to deal with and face to this day, because a lot of us are not healed, and not even from just family stuff, lineage. Like our
Hmm.
lineage is not completely healed. So it's just a lot that we carry with us, and we're very animated people.
Yep.
So I think sometimes
True.
when you have to learn from certain people, sometimes it's just about you and how you can control your own self. You
Hmm.
can't control how other people are. You can't control what they say, what they do. So if this person, like, if this is the only person that you can learn this skill from, suck it up. Sometimes, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously stand on your ground for certain things. Obviously have boundaries. Don't be a doormat.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to suck it up. You got to put your feelings out of it. You got to put your emotions out of it. And I've learned to do this. And I'm learning, like Nearly Fuller always
I
says,
feel that. I understand.
I'm
At
learning
least you're honest.
to do this. Yep, I'm
Yeah.
learning to do this at work because it's hard. And
Yeah.
I have my good days and I have my bad days. And some days I'm real good and I'm like, I could care less with anything. I'm an armor. I got armor around me. Some days everything's like affecting me, and I'm just like, okay, these people are trying to take me there today. So,
Yeah.
we've got to learn to be able to control ourselves. And that's, again, I'm always bringing things home. You got to get in tune with your spirit.
Hmm.
Some of us don't even know ourselves.
Hmm.
Have you spent 25 minutes alone with yourself a day, with no
Hmm.
noise, just silent, just with your own thoughts? We got to do this, family. We got to start getting in tune with us and start loving us first,
Yeah.
and then that'll extend out, and really will. I really am a strong believer in that. I do. And obviously it ain't for everybody. It's always B1, right? And
Yeah.
and if you're on code, so those are the two other factors. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is, and this is something that my brand specifically is against, but
Hmm.
I think people are always trying to change hearts and minds. Our people specifically, we want people to be
Hmm.
as justice oriented as we are. So,
We do.
you know what I mean? So
We
I
do
think
do that.
like
Yeah. I be doing it too. I'm guilty of that sometimes.
yeah.
Sometimes I do that. Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, why you don't see this? Like,
Yeah. It's See, so the thing with our brand, or at least what my brand is, I try to tell people it's important for you to understand who it is that you're having a conversation with, not try to
yes,
change the mind of that person. So that helps with us not being so emotional as you talked about, being logical.
yes.
We have to look at who is in front of us and accept that individual for who they are. Now, you can have moments where you
Understand
can
your
teach.
audience.
Yeah, it depends on your audience, and it depends on, like, in my opinion, the inquisition of the person. Because if you meet
Hmm.
somebody and they may be off code, but it may be because they don't know this or that thing, that's different than you're just talking to a complete Sambo. Some people just need to
Yes.
be taught and they need to be educated on certain things, and
Hmm.
they're willing to. That's why I said you have to look for inquisition a little bit as well too. Because in some cases you can do that, but for the most part, if you see somebody who's hell bent or they're stuck in their ways, that type of thing, charge them to the game, because you're not going to be able to
Right.
change their mind. And that's going to be more energy that's going to be off of you that you need to put towards something else. So, to your point, yes, you do have to take your emotions out of it when you're dealing with people like this. So, I agree
Hmm.
with that 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's true. And I even go further and say like that all that you just said, some of that's a part of, that's why y'all definitely got to get the book when it comes out, because this is a part of what I'm putting forth for us to be able to understand these things, right?
Yeah,
It's a whole system. It's the 7-dimensional cultural ascension process, because you got to be able to discern. Discernment is one of the dimensions.
absolutely.
You got to be able to have discussions with people
Mm-hmm.
that are non-emotional, that are based in logic, and you got to be able to discern mindsets, and discern morals, integrity, and be able to understand who's who. This
Yep.
keeps you safe, family. This is what keeps you safe. This is what helps you to build your institutions with a strong foundation with no weak links,
Mm-hmm.
infiltrating that.
Yep.
So, definitely, be on the lookout for it, because it's going to really change. It's going to give you an option to change the mindset and the way that you approach your conversations with people, change the way that you deal with these people,
Mm-hmm.
um, and give you a blueprint to kind of know how to deal with certain people, and get that understanding of, okay, all right, I know who I'm dealing with. So now I know I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to do it that way, because sometimes, you got to use honey, to get the bees. You can't, that saying with the
Mm-hmm.
shit and the
You
flies
want
and
to
the
use that
bees. You know what I'm
analogy?
saying? And
Yep.
not only that, the other
Yeah.
thing I'll point to what you said is, we got to learn, family. Stop casting your jewels amongst swine.
It's a good point.
Everybody ain't here to learn what you got to teach them. Everybody here ain't here to take your jewels. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And don't cast your jewels upon amongst swine. That's an old, saying in the Nation of Islam
Yeah.
and the 5% Nation. You know what I'm saying? And these are our cultural teachings, family. You know what I'm saying? And another thing is, you take what's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
You take the best part for yourself and you discard the rest. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not everything's got polarity in it. There's balance in everything. Some things are good, and some things of that same thing got bad nature to it. So you take the good and you discard the bad, and this is how you continue to build. That's building and destroying. You know what I'm saying? So this
Yeah.
is this is all the stuff I'm gonna be talking about in the book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think you got to, like you said, you got to put up boundaries as well too. I mean, there's points,
Absolutely.
when you talk to people that you can just say, I'm not going to discuss that, or I don't want to discuss that. I don't want to
Right.
get into all that and then move forward. Because
Mhm.
sometimes I think people, because they're so passionate about the stuff they believe, like they want to not like, they want to talk, they want to kind of stand up for themselves because they feel like they've been violated by somebody saying this or that thing. So that's why I said you
Right.
got to take all that out the equation and just remember, I'm here to learn this skill. I'm not here to even necessarily make a connection. I'm not here to
Right.
change this person's mind. I'm here to learn this skill so I can do something constructive, and then I can
Right.
just take this experience and move forward from it. So you just have to have a certain mindset when you deal with that. So I agree with you.
Yeah,
Um,
and back in the day when they had the apprentices and stuff, like when they like blacksmiths and all that, like you
yeah,
would have nobody got treated well.
yeah,
You're just there to
yeah,
learn. You got to work. You got to
for
put the
sure.
work in, and sometimes it takes abuse and all that, whatever the case, But
Yeah,
sometimes you just got to take that good with the bad and take what you need for yourself, and just leave the rest. If they talking about some religious stuff you don't like, in one ear out the other. You're the sole
yeah,
controller of your own universe. You
yep.
decide what you retain in your mind. You
Mhm.
decide that as it comes through your ear. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You decide whether you're going to stand on it, believe it, engage with it, or throw it out your other ear. Our people do it every day. A lot of people do that every day. They
yeah.
don't listen to no knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That goes right in one ear and right out the other. So
Mhm.
that's the skill that we all got to learn.
Yeah, you got to learn a filtration process. What stuff are
Yeah,
you keeping in? What stuff are you taking out? I agree for sure.
absolutely.
Let me get to some of these comments really quick. I see more
The
people
comments
as
is
well.
on fire.
They
They on
are.
fire.
They are. I love
They
it.
on fire, family. I love you, family. I love us. I love the Universal Supreme
Most definitely. Same,
and the
same.
and the cool clique.
Yep. And the cool
They're the
click.
same. Y'all the same people though. Y'all the same people.
Exactly.
It's the
We're
family.
all just connected now. That's all
It's
it
just what
is.
we call it, right?
Yep. Most definitely. Off topic. What is the likeliness of reparations and how can we measure it? It's going to happen. I can't give it a percentage, but it's going to happen for sure. When it's going to happen, I also do not know, but it is certainly going to happen.
Yes.
How can we measure it? So that's real simple. If we're talking about the whole space of America, reparations should be for foundational Black Americans. And one of the reasons why we say foundational Black Americans is because we're specifying what specific lineage group is actually going to get it. So it would be a lineage based thing. And I would say a good number just to start off, my opinion, is about 70 trillion. And it could include other things later down the line that should be
Yes.
distributed to all of the families of people who have, families who go back to the 1870 census. Another way to also prove this too would be to prove that you have been Black in the United States for about 10 to 15 years. There was a book that I was reading. It's what is the name of it? I can't think of the name of it right now, but the book, yep, I found it. From here to equality is what I think it's called. It's by hold on one second, I'm about to grab it real quick.
Yeah, cool. I want to see it. I might have to grab that. I don't think I heard of that.
Yep, this
I
is
don't have
it.
that. I don't have that in my arsenal.
Yep, this is a pretty good book. From here to equality: reparations for Black Americans in the 21st century by William Darity Jr. and A.
Oh
Kirsten Muller.
yeah,
Yep.
Dr. Darity.
Yep. So you definitely want to go and cop this book. So I read this all the way through. I actually want to read it again because there's some things I also want to catch from it. Now, there's some things I would tweak and I would change, but for the most part, it's on point, at least from, an ideal standpoint. I can definitely get
Mm-hmm.
down with it. But
Mm-hmm.
I bring that up because that helped me kind of conceptualize the whole reparations conversation. But
Mm-hmm.
I say 70 trillion foundational Black Americans. Prove that your family goes back to the 1870 census, 10 to 15
Mm-hmm.
years, proven that you have been a Black person in America, and all these things check out. So this is a way to make it consistent with it being a lineage based thing. So now it's not race based and it's not considered unconstitutional. That also takes out, whites in the dominant society from trying to, catch a bag from it as well too. But you're literally tackling the specific group who has been harmed. So that would be the best way to distribute it.
I
That
agree
was,
with that 1000%. That's why
yeah,
everybody got to go do their genealogy. That is the most important thing that you can do right now to the first step to understanding who you are and to us getting our lineage based reparations, which, yes, I agree with the brother. We will get it. It's coming to us, and we're going to get that and a whole bunch more, family. So you stay tuned for that because we are getting it.
Most definitely. And the last thing I want to say about reparations, although I kind of briefed it, but I hit the big points. I would say that reparations should start out as some type of cash payment or some type of payment with no strings attached, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
It can be other things later down the line, but I already know they're going to try to sanction all that stuff and put all these little trick bags on it so that it's
Hmm.
there's some catches to it. But
Right.
it should start off as cash payments or some type of payment that doesn't have any ties to it. And then we can talk about the other things later down the line, but it needs to start there.
Start there, and we all have some real good ideas about other things down the line, but that's definitely the first step, the cash
Yep.
payments.
Because we're gonna do a lot of constructive stuff with it. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, y'all are just
You
gonna
ready?
buy Jordans. You guys are just gonna
And
like,
some people might, but that's their
yeah."
prerogative.
And
What they worried
here's
about? Why they trying to see? They still trying to police what we gonna do with it.
I was about
Don't
to
worry
say, yeah,
about what
don't
we
worry
do with
about
it.
what we do with it. If we want to do that, then that's our business. And really, you shouldn't be mad because we give it back to you. That's why y'all are
Right.
afraid in the first place to give it to us because you know that we're gonna do something constructive and it's not going to come back to you as much as you're trying to
As
project.
they think. Yep. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're scared of because
Yep.
they know that they have, they know the history and they know what they've done to our not just not just that main Black Wall Street, but all of the Black Wall Street towns that they have either drowned or bombed or burned or destroyed or
Yep.
put railroads through or built Pentagons on. They built to build a Pentagon on, that was a Black community. So they do this, and they do that
Yeah.
because they know if they leave us to those devices, we would have been surpassed them competitively, like the way Dr. Anderson talks about the race-based competitive game that we play here in America.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have been on the bottom still in that sense economically, and that's where all the power is in the
For sure.
economics.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to say one thing too about that book I just showed you.
Mm-hmm.
That From Here to Equality, reparations for
Mm-hmm.
Black Americans. That's also the book that Brother Marcel read before he actually did his whole like political
Okay.
campaign and
And
whatnot. So
he was on fire, so yeah.
yes,
You see what that sparked? You see how that sparked someone's, and that's all it takes, family. It just takes one spark. It takes one book, one show you watch, one eye-opening thing. I know people who watch the Hidden Colors thing, and they then started their whole own thing from that.
yeah,
Um, it just takes one spark. And
yep,
we know how resilient and how, like, when we put our mind to something and we do come together, man,
yeah,
can't shit stop us. Y'all already know that. That's
yeah,
why it just takes for us to do it, family. Can't
most
shit
definitely.
stop us. We got to just do it.
And we got to be consistent with it. That's the other thing
Yes.
too, and that takes discipline. You have to
Yes.
you have to keep in mind like what the goal is overall. Because a lot of people are like, well, how do I stay consistent? Well, that's easy. Like, do you have the thing you're achieving or do you not? If you are saying
Right.
that you don't, that means that you have every reason to continue to be consistent in getting
Right.
to where you need to get to. So that's my thing about that.
Yeah.
hmm Thank you for having this conversation. We definitely have to build our own media content platforms and distribution. No problem. And
Absolutely.
yes, that's one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to meet with Taylor B today because I knew she was going to have great insight on this. I knew we were going to put our heads together and kind of talk more about it. So yeah, definitely. Let's see. Um, Fox owns Tubi last time I checked.
Oh well, you know that ain't us.
Yeah, they
You
already
know
know
that ain't the Universal Supreme.
this. No, not at all. And the other issue is that most in that community act like they get harmed because they are gay versus because they are Black, and that's
Hmm.
where my issue lies with those that feel that way. I'm FBA first, absolutely, and that's the thing. That's
Absolutely.
why I said that. Even a lot of like our leaders who have done things constructive for Foundation of Black Americans who were gay themselves, they did put Blackness first. That's why I brought up the James Baldwin thing
Yeah.
because
He was
despite the fact
D1.
that we all know that dude was gay, like he
Yeah.
was literally unapologetically talking about Black people specifically. Like you didn't really
Right.
hear him say, I'm a Black activist and a gay rights activist. You would
Right.
just hear him speak for us specifically, and he would throw a lot of gems that really are still prominent today. So definitely, like it's really about putting your blackness first, because that's a thing that you absolutely can't help. There's a lot of arguments about the whole
Right.
gay thing, what I mean, about whether or not it was a choice or not, but there's no dispute no matter what when it comes to being black.
Yeah.
Now, what's this next comment? TP, I think that's Tyler Perry,
Yes,
only
it
makes,
is.
yeah, only makes TP rich and famous. He doesn't do much for his actors, in my opinion. And yes, his media is like the neighborhood dope man. He helps some, but destroys most of the community. I actually agree with that statement. A lot of
Me
people, they don't
too.
want to denigrate Tyler Perry because, I get it. You want black people to be successful no matter what. I get it. But I think that it's important to kind of bring up the fact that what he's doing doesn't end up being constructive for us. And the reason why is because Tyler Perry has, a good amount of wealth where he can actually make a lot of power moves for Black society.
Yeah.
He could have pulled a Michael Jackson or a Prince. I keep going back to them, and there's a reason for that.
Hmm.
But he really is serving himself, like you said, and that's why I said that. He's tapping into what his audience is, which are again a lot of simple-minded Negroes who just want to see some drama and black people and some church religious-esque stuff on TV. So
Right.
they go and they see the stuff that he puts out there, even if it's low quality, which let's be real, most of his shit is low quality.
Yep.
Yep. So there's that.
Yep, and he's a gatekeeper too. I mean, he gatekeeps, he was a part of that blackballing his sister Monique.
Yep.
Like stuff like that, like, you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. If you got this and that just goes to show that he's not on code. He don't got the mindset,
Hmm.
and that's not villainizing him because he got money, Good for him, he got money and he's rich, and but what are you doing with it? Is it what price is it? At what cost?
Most
So
definitely.
that's what people got to deal with when they go to bed at night. Some of them don't. It don't bother them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's all for them, and that kind of goes back to what you were saying, which is that sometimes you have these foundational Black Americans who are really talented, and they get put on and they don't really do anything for us. But like they'll have all these great either feats that they're able to kind of get to, or they'll make a lot of money, but they
mhm.
don't do anything for us. He kind of, to me, he
But the
kind of falls
dominant
into.
society lifts them up to do that too.
Mhm.
That's
They
a
handpick
part
them.
to me, bro. I think it's a part of a contract, and I'm being honest now.
Yeah,
Because I really think that a lot of this with our celebrities,
yeah,
and I'll definitely hands down say it's with hip hop.
yeah.
I don't have no question that it's with hip hop, but even going in, I think they get paid. Once they make it to a certain echelon or threshold, or they have a certain influence, a conversation gets had with them.
Hmm.
You can only do certain things,
Hmm.
I feel like they limit them. I feel like a lot of them are trapped. They can't do some things. I just feel
Yeah.
like that, and I know, and I think we can look at the Michael Jacksons and the Princes, and we can see how the dominant society would make it that way now. Because with them, they didn't do that initially. With Michael being a child star, and the way that he came up was unconventional way that he got to his fame. The dominant society wasn't prepared for that. They wasn't
Yeah.
prepared to think that he would do that. He took them by storm, and I know a lot about that because I did a whole numerology presentation on Michael Jackson. So if y'all want to know about more about Michael Jackson and the stuff that they put him through, go to my channel and watch the Numbers Matter episode that I did on him. I was also on the Live with Lloyd show, Lloyd Strayhorn, and I went on
Mm.
there and did a presentation on Michael Jackson. And it's real deep, all the stuff that went on with him. But see,
Yeah.
the dominant society has put they learned from their logic in the past. They said, oh, these niggas did that. Okay, we gonna show them. The next ones that we come up and that we allow them to come into our society and be a part of this wealth and get this wealth, there's clauses in their contract. There's this, there's that. They're not allowed to do this. Or if they do this, that's when you see them how Dave Chappelle had to go to Africa.
Hmm.
See what I'm saying? So they do this with our people. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I really believe our people are like in some type of real soul trap with them in that Hollywood stuff,
Most definitely. No, I think you're right about that as well too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I do think that there is like some type of contract or something. I think that they handpick those people. They know who has
Yes.
a certain mindset and who's willing to kind of get in with them. I think Michael kind of, like you said, took them by surprise, so they kind of had to do some dirty stuff in order to kind of take him down.
Yes.
I think Michael surprised them because they saw this dude who was still very childlike, even as an adult. So they assumed that, oh, he's going to be soft and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, Michael wasn't soft, and Michael definitely wasn't no pushover. And they learned that quick. So I think that's what was going on there.
Yeah, they didn't know that Michael was a master number 11, huh? And they
Mm.
didn't know that he was a Virgo
Hmm.
11 at that. You know what I'm saying? Earth
Yep.
sign with a number, what? Anything he touched would grow.
Yep.
Anything he touched would grow. His charisma,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? And his that analytical nature of being a Virgo. Yeah, he might have been childlike in his mind because he had a lot of youthful numbers running through his name. So yeah, Michael was childlike. Plus, a lot of his child got robbed from
Yeah, most
him
definitely.
growing up, having to be on the stage and all that.
Yeah.
But like you said, he wasn't soft. His father was a boxer. He had all them brothers. Michael could fight and all that.
Yeah.
He grew up in the hood. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And he grew up, and then even on those circuits, the ghetto circuit they call it, where he was out doing the shows, you
Yeah.
had to be rough in there. They was in there, talking grown folk talk. You know what I'm saying? He's a kid, so while he was all of that and childlike, but he observed and absorbed like that's the true Virgo trait.
Hmm.
He analyzed, he sat in them business rooms, he listened, he learned, and then he did it to him because he loved his heritage, like he said. He loved
Hmm.
being a Black American.
Proud
Look
Black
what he did,
American.
giving Black Americans back their royalties and back their catalogs and all that kind of stuff when he bought the Beatles catalog. So they couldn't control Michael. They wanted to control him so bad. They tried to tear him down in the media. They tried to tear him down with the lies of them allegations or lies on Michael.
Hmm.
All that shit's lies on him. None of it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I don't, I get passionate about that because I love Michael Jackson. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they did him real, real dirty. And he was the one. Like he was our one, you know what I mean?
I
And
agree.
they took him out and I still pissed off. And I got the
Yeah.
hashtag going, hashtag J for MJ, justice for MJ. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because they still doing him dirty to this day. They still trying to do him dirty.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree for sure. Yeah, I definitely have a like a huge amount of respect for Michael Jackson.
Hmm.
I definitely like it's not even just like his music. He is my favorite
Right.
artist, but it's also like
Hmm.
his business savvy and his mind and
Right.
the things I knew that he was going to do, before he, passed and he was off.
Yep.
Really, let's be real that he was off. But I knew that he had this desire to have Universal and Marvel
Yep. Marvel.
Comics, and he had all these
Yep.
different ideas and stuff like that. But you're right, he's a fellow Virgo. I'm a Virgo too, so he's a fellow
Yeah,
Virgo.
that's why I
Yeah,
know you love them, bro.
yeah, I do.
I know you do.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you do. You got a little similar energy with that. You analyze things like that too.
I
That's why
do.
you're so smart with the way you can analyze these shows.
Mhm.
And you really,
Appreciate it.
Virgos are they're troubleshooters. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They're troubleshooters. They know how to sort and organize and be detailed with their information. They're very discriminating in their viewpoint.
Hmm.
So they get to it. They get to it. If you want to know something or
Yeah.
you need help with something, get a Virgo to help you. They'll get to the bottom of it.
Most definitely. I
Yep.
noticed a lot of like activists or Virgos as well too, because I think what's the name is a Virgo too, Marcel.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're either Virgos or Capricorns, the earth signs. Yep. Down to
Yeah.
earth. Steadfast, pragmatic, practical.
Yep.
A lot of earth signs, like a lot of the master teachers are Capricorns and different things like that. So
I
it's
picked
pretty
up on
cool.
that because I
Yeah.
think Dr. Claude Anderson might be a Virgo as well too. Now that you say it,
Is he? I don't know if he is. I can look real quick
I
though.
thought Dr.
While
Claude
you're
Anderson was and Marcel was. I don't know. And then like you got like other activists like Martin Luther King. He was a Capricorn. What's his face?
Yep.
Malcolm X is a Taurus. So some people they don't get into astrology and all that. I'm kind of in between. I could kind of see some things that would be beneficial, like the stuff that you do. I could think that would be very beneficial. So yeah, I think they are though.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, they
Yes.
are. They are. I'm looking
Yeah.
for Dr. Anderson's birthday, but it's not coming up. So he
I
might
thought
be
it was
next year.
around mine because mine's is on the
Is,
third.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you're a water sign with a fire number, and
Yeah.
and I
For
told you
Earth.
about you in that three energy, you're very expressive, um, popular, um, social, talkative, uh,
Hmm.
creative, imaginative. That's all your three frequency energy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Very ambitious. If told you can't do something, you'll go to the length to prove those wrong,
That's
that you
true.
can do it. Very ambitious, determined. Um, you know, conscientious too. Very
Yeah,
conscientious
that's
about your work.
all true.
Yep. That's your energy, brother.
Mm. Yeah, you pegged me. Yeah, you got
All
me.
frequencies.
Yeah,
All frequency.
you definitely called it.
Yeah.
Let me see
And it's
here.
interesting your name that you chose, your cool colas. It's got I didn't read the whole thing, but it's got a lot of you got a lot of threes in there. Those C's and L's, all those threes. So, that three
Yeah,
energy is very strong with you. I bet if I added it all up, it will probably add up to a number that was a three. But I didn't do your numerology. Usually I will
yeah,
do someone's numerology before I engage with them. But I couldn't quite remember if your birthday was on the third. I knew it was the third
yeah.
I knew you were a 3, but I didn't know if you were on the 12th or the 20. I couldn't remember, so I didn't wanna get it wrong.
I need to set up a numerology session with you anyway, though, because then I'm curious to know the full picture. Now that you said that,
Yeah,
a lot
so
of stuff you said is
anybody in the
accurate.
audience too, if you're curious about your numbers or your personal universal code, come get at me on my page and you know, on Teller BTV, follow me on my YouTube, and then my numerology website is numeralytics.biz. And I'll give that to the brother and he could probably post it in the description of the video once everything's said and done with this live. And y'all,
Yeah,
come get with me. I'm Queen B, I'm your sister, I'm Teller. You know what I'm saying? And I need the family support. I really do. I've been doing this for a long time.
most definitely.
And bro knows he see me, but I was on like Instagram and stuff more before, and I
Yep.
wasn't really building my YouTube up. And I said, bro, how'd you do it? I'm trying to build my YouTube up too. And he gave me some good pointers. And I
Mm-hmm.
love what the brother's doing on his YouTube. Obviously, he's got the cool
Appreciate it.
click going. And it's just amazing. And it's what you said, being disciplined and consistent. And that's how you did it. And that's what you told me.
Yeah, most definitely. I
He's
appreciate
true
all
to
you
his
saying all
words.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's that
it's
conscientiousness of that 3,
most
you
definitely.
know?
You're right.
Very conscientious.
When it comes to like YouTube, I think the thing is that you have to kind of know what it is you want to talk about, and then you have to stick to that thing, even if it's something that's a little bit different than what most people do. For
Yes.
me, I kind of know the things that I like to talk about. I know entertainment is definitely my lane. Now, I may kind of go off the grid a little bit, but it still sticks with the whole pro-black thing because that's like the main thing that I like talking about because I see it in basically everything that we do. So it's easy to
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I love it. Like you really have cornered your niche. Um, and I love everything you're doing. And even when I see stuff and other brothers and stuff, I always think of you. And I'll be
Mhm.
like, that's
Mm,
my brother's going. I'm waiting, yo. I'm waiting for the Cool Colas Institute, the comedic, writing journal lab, and
yeah.
all of it. All of it.
Mhm.
This is why we're here. If you
Yeah.
ain't outside for it, then what you outside for?
Most definitely. Most
You
definitely.
know?
It's all coming. It's all definitely
I
coming.
know it is. I
Yep.
know. I know you, Virgo. I know it's coming.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot being cooked up. And we'll get into that too, because that kind of ties into the whole solutions thing.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to the comments real quick, see what other
I
people are
love the
saying.
cool click. They're just awesome in these comments tonight.
Yeah, a lot of people
I
had a
love
lot
it.
of stuff to say. Like I
They're
wanna
they're
address
thirsty
some of
for
this.
this conversation, bro. They're thirsty for this talk.
I
You know?
see. Yeah, because a lot of people are throwing in a lot of ideas too. This
Yep.
okay, Reparations Nation said the 2 Castlevania series are pretty good. They have prominent black characters, non-FBA, but if you're not on code, you miss all the tropes, and they are full of them. Still good shows. I started watching one of
Okay.
like the Castlevanias. I want to say it was the Nocturna one. I didn't finish it. I saw like a couple episodes. Me and my wife were watching it. I did notice the tropes. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'd noticed the Castlevania stuff even by playing Super Smash Bros. Because when they put Simon and Richter as playable characters into the game, like I always noticed that there's that over A move where like dudes got whips. So in my mind, I'm like because I think I was playing against somebody. I was playing Super Smash Bros. Against somebody, and I remember somebody saying "whip you like a slave," and I thought about that. And I'm like, is that the purpose of that whip? And then it's
Yeah.
interesting because when I saw like the series, I realized that they actually talk about slavery low key there. So I
Hmm.
think it actually does have to do with that. And it's interesting because in Nocturna, they're teasing that there's this relationship between this black girl who's a character in there, and then I believe it was Richter Belmont who's a character and it's like a relationship where they talk about how the black girl, her family, like they were slaves, and then like his family were slave owners, and they're like trying to put them together. I noticed that they were doing that in that show. So
Mm,
it's interesting they brought up Castlevania.
wow.
Yeah,
That's deep.
that's what I'm saying. This stuff is in everything. Like it
Yeah, you
even
can't
goes into
make it up.
video games.
The whole country's based on it.
Yep.
Like every area of activity, just like the great Nellie Fuller, and may he rest in peace. That was a big blow for our community and our
Yeah.
nation. We didn't even touch on that, but that was oh man, I was like, oh man, like that's a whole library right there that just but he left his legacy in the book. You guys, this is why we got to get these books from our elders and
Yep.
support them, and you know what I'm saying. And
I got that.
a lot of this stuff, the blueprint has already been laid for us, family. And
Uh-huh.
honestly, there's nothing new under the sun. So a lot of us will come together and like there you go. Mine is on my bookshelf, so you got yours out. I don't got to grab by.
It was
But
right next
yeah,
to
a
me.
lot of us, ain't nothing new under the sun. And a lot of our elders and our master teachers, like especially called Anderson, Neely Fuller, a lot of them have laid out pathways for us to obtain things. But what I will say is why my book is important, and others and Kukolas and different things that we do now is because, guys, we got to update, we got to renew our history. That's another lesson from our cultural lessons. You got to renew your history every 25,000 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a day to God is 1,000 years, and we're God in the image of God. We God people. So
Yep.
a day to us is 1,000 years. So every month you got to renew your history. So this is why it's important to continue to keep the master teachers' readings and their teachings alive through us and through the work we do, and to update on them, build on them, because some things, like the brother said before, get outdated. Some things aren't going to go because we've advanced so far technologically. So we
Yep.
might have to change the way we do the approach, but it's the same blueprint, but we got to change the vehicle in which we get there. So that's why it's important for us to continue to keep these thought-provoking conversations going, support each other, hear each other out. And if whatever you don't agree with, you don't agree with it. And we can respectfully disagree with each other
Most def.
without hating on each other, and that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing the family got to learn to do.
I agree with that. Yeah, here's the thing too. Sometimes disagreements are healthy, especially in these types
Mm-hmm.
of spaces, because you learn that people have different ideas that may be better suited either for you or just for what we're all trying to do collectively. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they're healthy, but they have to
Yep.
be on topic. That's the other thing too. I just
Yeah,
talked
and not emotional.
Yeah, I just talked about this on Threads. I talked about how I noticed that sometimes when I post content, people will disagree with things. And I don't have a problem with disagreement. That's like not my issue. But sometimes people will, what's the word I'm looking for? They'll talk around the subject. They won't talk to the subject. So like
Mm-hmm.
they'll like literally miss the point. And so it's nothing that you can really have a conversation with. So that's the problem that I see quite a bit. People miss the point of why this thing is being put out in the first place versus actually addressing it and bringing a new perspective. So, but
Right.
when people do bring things that are constructive, they should be listened to as long as we're all in the same like frame of mind with what we're doing.
Absolutely. And another thing that brings out, bro,
Yeah.
is sometimes you find a solution there. You find that compromise
Yeah.
in the
Most definitely.
disagreement, because we all aren't going to always agree on everything, right? So
Hmm.
sometimes when you're having a discussion, and often with my numerology practice, I say, the way that you open the portal to your magic is to balance your energy.
Hmm.
So those disagreements, they're really just balancing that idea. If we think of that as energy, it's
Most
a
definitely.
balance in between. So it could be an extreme, or it might not be so extreme. Could be the smallest thing that now you can say, oh well, since you said that, well, what if we did it this way and took this piece out and added that piece?
Yeah.
Now you done found a whole damn solution for everything we've been looking for, because you had that disagreement, that discord. Because we're all great in the way we think, and we all have something to offer. All of our
Hmm.
frequencies are needed to build together to make our reality what we want it to be.
Most
So
definitely.
this is why it's important. It's important to know your opposites. It's important to tune into that energy too,
I
because
agree
that's
with
where
that.
you make the magic happen.
I agree with that 100%. So funny you brought that up. So another great mind here, Marcus Bowden. Shout out to him. Actually chimed
Kings
in.
up, kings up.
Yep. This, by the way, Taylor B, when you get a chance, you have to have Marcus Bowden on your platform one time. Marcus Bowden is a very smart brother. He has a lot of great ideas. So he's another like author, writer, blur like myself. So
Yes.
yeah. So I'm glad he actually chimed into this conversation. But
Yeah, I'm going to connect with the brother after this. I definitely going to bring him on.
you should.
Definitely.
Yeah. Dude he actually has made a couple books, as a matter of fact.
Mhm.
And if you ever just scroll through my Instagram, I know you don't go on there a lot, but if you scroll through my Instagram, see some of his comments, he has a lot of great insight on the things that I bring up. So definitely like
Yeah, I seen the brother. You know, you kind of a little bit low key connected us before, and then you know how things go. But
yeah,
we're reconnected now. He's, you know, I see him back on the live, and I'm not as on Instagram as much anymore too. So,
most
you know,
definitely.
that probably was another reason I lost contact. But you know, definitely I'm going to reach out to the brother because I do want him on I want him on the platform. So I'm gonna get that popping for probably, you know, for April. So, bro, you know what I'm saying, get ready because I'm about to hit you up for that.
Cool. I love it.
Hmm.
He said, glad I was able to catch this, but I'm sorry I came on too late. Oh yeah, don't be
Never
sorry,
late.
fam. It's all good.
You
Better
see
late
us,
than
we
never.
still here.
Yeah,
We
hopefully he's still here.
outside.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
outside.
See, I'll buy the book from you directly. Okay, so you got somebody who already
Thank
is
you.
interested. That's what's up.
Thank you. And I love you guys. I tell my Universal Supreme, I love us. Because I do. I love us.
What's it say?
You
I'm
gotta,
tired
you
of.
gotta love it. You gotta love this to do the stuff that me and bro do because you
You
know
have to.
it ain't for the weak.
Yeah, it can be
For
really
the weak.
heavy, and then like you already are like you got to deal with a lot of different stuff because you're not just dealing with just the stuff you're talking about. You have people who are going to oppose a lot of what you're saying as well too because it's not popular. You know. See, I'm tired of calling content creators preaching to me because I'm black. I don't care who it is. As soon as they start, I'm blocking the channel. I'm a human and I deserve better content. I don't know what you're directing that at, but what I would, I don't know what you're directing that at. I hope you ain't directing it at me, but
It might be at me.
it could be at you. I don't know, but
Okay.
don't be a mad hater, not mad hatter. Let's see here.
That
Um,
was a good one, bro. That's that number three ingenuity.
yeah. Queen B brought up a very good point about support. The only drawback is that they'll get tethers to play us and will
Yes.
pull their anti-black shenanigans such as Black Cake or the other black girl. Yeah. Have you seen
Yeah.
those?
What's that? I didn't see Black Cake or the other black girl. What's that?
Okay,
What's
so
that,
I gotta
bro?
break it down to you.
Oh
So
God, what are they doing now?
so the other black girl is this show and it's about this I'm trying to put it in a way that makes sense, but there's this black girl, she's working in this office environment and there's mostly black coworkers who she's working with
Mhm.
and she it notices that like she befriends this person. It's this other black girl who she like befriends at her job, and I guess like her other friend who is not a part of that job, she notices that something is weird about this chick, right? And so what we learn later is that there's this like hair gel that a lot of these chicks are putting in their head, and the hair
Mhm.
gel is causing them to think like uh black conservatives, I guess. Like I don't know, like it's kind of weird. So
Okay.
they basically make it where I don't want to call it like a vampire flick, but like as people take the hair gel, it's supposed to it's supposed to make them brainwashed into acting like a conservative black person. Like that's the
Yeah.
whole idea of it. It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it would
weird.
be creative, but there's so many tropes in it, and I'm just like, oh, it's just it was kind of difficult to get through.
Yeah, I can
The other
imagine.
thing, so Black Cake was about this chick, she was in the Caribbeans, and it talked about her family and how she ended up in London or something like that. And it's like there were a bunch of narratives in there, but basically she had like a brother and a sister, and then it started talking about interracial dating because like she was partially Caribbean and partially Asian. So you had a lot of like swirling narratives in there and stuff like that. So I'm giving you like a surface level version of what was going on, but you got to see it's a lot of different stuff going on in those two shows.
That sounds crazy. I'm glad I missed those.
Yeah. It's the other black girl really just got me because I low key I think they were trying to put in some like misandric messages in there as well too.
Mhm.
And I noticed it because I think I told Marcus about it and I told him to check it out and he kind of noticed some of the stuff that I was saying as well. I talked about it on my page, but I'd have to go back to the post. I'll send it to you when I get a chance so you can kind of check out what I said because it gives like a brief summary about what happened, but yeah, that's the gist of what it was about.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. So you say, yep. My question for you, Colas, is do you think it would benefit us if we learn to screenwrite so that we can properly pitch our stories and show ideas? So I think that screenwriting is always a good idea because it's another skill. But as far as to do it to pitch our stories and ideas, I wouldn't use it for that. I would just use it for the purpose of needing to have that skill for if there is somebody who like we find a black person who is who wants to produce and we need a good writer who's going to portray these things in the media, televised, etc., that type of thing, then you're probably going to want to have that skill. But I would say maybe not to pitch it, to people. I don't know.
Right.
I hope I'm saying that right, but I think it's something that's necessary, but maybe for that purpose.
I think it's like what you said before with like the apprentices and stuff. Like you learn to do the skill because it is what we may need for our own nation once we get it built up, right?
Hmm.
But you're going to have to be susceptible to using that skill in a dominant society and building yourself up there in order for you to be able to take that extra experience out into our own nation to do it. So I think it goes back to what you said before about that pathway to do things like that. And I just think it's important because not to pitch it. Like I agree with bro. Like don't do it to pitch it unless you're working in that fashion to bring the money back to the community.
Yeah.
But because what happened is, and this has happened with a couple of writers that they're starting to come out with these stories now, that when they pitch their stories to the like BETs or whatever, I'm not it's exactly which channel, might have been like Netflix or whatever. They want to take it and change it up and put more tropes and more stereotypes in it and like kind of change it up from what the narrative is that you wrote it as. So this is
Right.
the type of stuff that
Right.
they do to our intellectual property. They take it and they remix it.
Yep.
This is
I was
what
about
they've
to say that. I was
historically
about to
done.
say
Yeah.
remix it. Yep.
Yeah, they take it and they remix it and then they water it down and they do all these other things and they all this weird stuff in it. They race swap, they gender swap, and they all this weird stuff to keep us confused and distracted. And then now your great thing that you wrote is all messed up, you know?
Hmm. Yep. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Learning to screenwrite doesn't teach you how to pitch said film. Not that you asked me. LOL.
That's true. Those are two separate skills. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hidden Colors is partly what inspired me to write my novels. Yeah, Hidden
Dope.
Colors is really what broke me into thinking the way that I do. Because I would
Yep.
say maybe before, I want to say maybe 20, I want to say maybe like 19. I didn't have the mindset I have now. Like there's some things I started getting clued into because I started watching it around like maybe 17, 18. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I know about Tariq Nasheed. I heard that he made a Hidden Colors thing, but I never seen it. So I think that's what actually started to open my eyes more.
Yes.
Yep.
And he did. He woke up a lot of people with the hidden colors, even a lot of like the celebrities and stuff.
Hmm.
And he brought out a lot of the history and knowledge that even master teachers didn't put in a lot of their books, or they didn't know, or they didn't, get that deep into certain aspects because they were trying to do like a broader type of thing, right? Tariq really took it to the next level. And he really conceptualized it to really focus on us as a nation, as a nation.
Agreed.
I call us a nation, and it's we like again, back to the supply and demand. There was a demand for it. Like, we are thirsty for this. A lot of us are thirsty for this knowledge. There's a thing inside us that we can't control that pulls us to it, a lot of us. So
Yep.
for him to do that, like, he fulfilled a void. And that's the same thing that the race movies did back in 1920. They filled that void of us not seeing ourselves in a great light on the cinema. And Oscar Micheaux came in and filled that void, and he put us up there as lawyers, as doctors, as, you know, the military officers and the dignitaries and the this and the that. And then he also did those things, and he also attacked, um, the stereotypes and all that. The one drop rule. He did stuff
Yep.
on that. He did stuff on the lynching. He did everything that we were dealing with at the time. He brought it to light, but he brought it to the cinema in a respectful, tactful way, like
Mhm.
you said, how you wanted to see it,
Yep.
done that way. So this is what we have to continue. Like I'm telling you, family, nothing new under the sun. It's been laid. The foundations has been laid. We have to just go
Yep.
back to that blueprint and tweak it for 2025 and beyond. Because we are
Mhm.
in a technological different age now. So there's tweaks that we got to do to it, but the foundation's the same. We got to
Yep.
combat it with our own.
Most definitely. See here. So true. Hidden colors opened my eyes to so many things. I had no idea, and it changed the way I think about things. Yeah.
Yes.
I put my wife on Hidden Colors.
That's what's up.
So
And I love y'all too. You know that. I love Black love.
yeah, I appreciate it.
I
Yeah.
be like, how's wifey? You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah. My
love
wife
y'all,
is
how
phenomenal.
y'all travel, y'all support each other. I love the queen, how she supports you. I always see her
Mhm.
supporting her man, and that's what we gotta do, family. That's why I love them. We gotta. I love all my Black family couples. I love us. I love to see a Black couple, man. I love
Yeah.
it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, my wife is phenomenal.
Yeah,
She definitely supports me in everything I do. So
yeah. I
definitely
know it.
everything you said is totally true about her.
Yeah, I can see it. Don't
Yeah.
worry, I'm gonna dig into her numbers too. Don't let me find
You
out about
should.
that.
I kind of want to hear
Let me
it.
get in her business too.
Let's see here. I had no idea it changed the way I think about things. Okay, she was just correcting
Yeah,
herself. Michael did not play and he was very smart. Yeah,
very smart.
absolutely. Yeah.
Very smart.
Let's see. Had to step away for a sec, so I'm about 13 minutes behind. But as far as FBA Freeman lineage, base cash reparations, if you haven't spoken on it, good brother Greg Marcel. Okay, yep,
We
has a
spoke on
great
it. Yep.
We already talked
Yep.
about it.
We
Yep,
spoke about it. We spoke about
yep.
it.
He said, "Hi, you
Family
just
be on
mentioned this
code. I
platform."
love it. We be on code, family.
Yep, yep. So it's like he already knew.
Yeah.
Link. Do y'all have a? I think he also said, "Do y'all have a link down here?" I'm assuming he's talking about your stuff.
My stuff.
Yeah.
So I it's for some reason this StreamYard's not allowing us to put the link in. So I think bro is going to link my stuff in the description box
Yep.
at the end of the video. Or you can, it's Taylor BTV is my YouTube. And when you put that in, I'm the only one that'll pop up with that BTV symbol. And
Most
then
definitely.
my numerology is numeralytics.biz, and my clothing that you can see when we are the bag. This is one of my lines. I have several. Um, is besmartclothing.com. So those are
Mhm.
my three links that you can get me. And you can find me on Instagram and stuff. I'm not on there as
Yeah.
much anymore, but I do check in on there sometimes and stuff.
I plan to post them too. So in case you don't see
Yeah.
them, you can always go back and whatnot.
Thank
So
you,
yeah, you
brother.
be good.
Thank you so
I got
much.
you.
I
Yeah, I
really
got
I
you.
really appreciate the cool click, and y'all showing me love. I'm
They
gonna show
are.
the queen show love back. He knows I show love.
She
He knows.
does. She does definitely. This is a great person to connect with, y'all. So definitely make
Thank
sure y'all
you.
go over to her channel and support for real. Let me see here. Oh shoot, I think somebody said something. Yo, salute, bro. Appreciate you
Salute.
coming through.
Salute, King. King's up to you. Kings understand power.
Most definitely. Prince is my favorite artist, but MJ is in my top five, if not number two, to be honest. I love them
Me,
both. I'm
me
more of an
too.
MJ guy than Prince, but when
Me
it comes
too.
to like that mentality, Prince was definitely it. Prince
Yeah.
definitely is what I liked about Prince was Prince was kind of playing a role, but he still was
Yes.
on code because
Mm-hmm.
even with that whole androgynous thing and whatnot, that was a gimmick that he knew that white people were going to be comfortable with. So,
Yeah.
like, some people may have found that cool or whatever, but I think that was because he knew that was going to kind of get him that notoriety and also those dollars. But he had a great
Right.
business mind. So that's what I really liked about him.
Yep, and he was great. They were brilliant, brilliant artists, brilliant minds, Black
Mhm.
American greats. You know what I'm saying? Black
Yeah.
American greatness is what the first phrase that I made, but I couldn't fit all that on the shirt, so I wanted it to be look succinct. So
Yeah, most definitely. I'm a filmmaker and I make films that put our people in cool stories that don't deal with us battling racism. We deserve an escape that properly represents us.
yep,
That's cool.
that's
That's cool.
that's what I said I wanted to see us. When brother asked me the first question, he asked me that. And I
Yeah,
said, I just want to see us in normal role, like normal, being normal folks, you
no
know?
doubt. I think
Shout
that it
out
would
to
be
you,
cool.
brother.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. I'm glad that he's doing that. I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
think that that's definitely what we want to see more of, like what you were talking about, and just showing us in the normal light, just doing normal things. Now, I
Yeah.
think that when it comes to like tropes and even allegories, you don't even have to be like so direct with it. When it comes to us fighting racism and all this other shit, like you can actually
Right.
put it in there kind of subtly, and it like somebody may come to that conclusion, but it's not like
Right.
all in your face that this is all about like giving some type of justice promotion of black people. It's just us just being ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. In regards to my question, I'm talking, I think he was talking about it to pitching it to us as opposed to trying to pitch it to white
Oh,
media.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, no, I do think that's a great idea for sure.
That's
I
a great
do.
idea.
Yep.
I'm
I
for
think
any
that
outside of the box idea, any visionary idea. That's because that's what it's going to take to beat this.
for sure. No,
Mhm.
I agree with you for sure. Let me see here. Got a dip. 3 a.m. comes early where I'm working. I enjoyed the interview. Yeah, I'm glad you
Thank
were able to
you.
come through and you were able to catch it.
Me too. I'm reaching out to him to get him on the show.
You
And
you got
anybody
to.
else, if you're doing something, I got the Culture Reflections podcast where it's entrepreneurial people. So whatever you're doing, if you want to come get an interview, bro been on the show. He got his. You got to come back and get an update interview on there too, because that was a couple years ago before you even really got the YouTube popping off. So
Yeah,
remember, like we had, so I think that was like a couple years ago.
it
Um,
was. I think
yeah,
it was like
it was a
it
couple.
was either early 2023 or it was late
Yeah.
2022. I don't remember. It was one of them two.
It might have been late. Well, I don't remember if the reparations rally happened first or not, but it
Yeah.
was around that time. It was
Yeah.
around that time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Hey, back to Castlevania. Check out the OG cartoon. It'll explain the whip usage more. Plus, I'm 47 years old, so I played the OG Nintendo game back in young day. LOL. The OG cartoon is greater than Nocturne. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Got you.
You're around my age, reparations nation. You
Oh
got
man.
me beat by a little bit, but I'm in that same bracket. Don't you worry.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Yeah, see, like as far as like the OG series, I didn't really see it like that, but I'll go back and I'll check it out because I am curious. Because I knew like when they had like the whip and that whole thing, like I figured that it was tied to like slavery, and then
Mhm.
Nocturne pretty much confirmed that that's what they were referring to, and that like I
Yeah.
said, Richter's family, like they descended from being slave owners. So yeah, I already kind of knew.
Yeah. You know how they be doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you so much, Taylor B.
Course,
Nice, thank
queens
you.
up. Queens understand their power and
Most
position. I also use that word because queens, we gotta understand our position. Both of us, queens and kings, but really the queens because
Mhm,
we have the power to really affect our men. And our men are going to go how our mindset goes.
mhm,
If we're not supporting our man and we're giving him a hard time and we're fighting him and he's already fighting everybody, like we gotta knock a lot of the stuff we do, ladies. We gotta knock it off. Like we gotta knock it off. And everything ain't about
mhm,
money.
mhm,
Money's important, yes, but it's not the most important thing. And your family is more important than anything. So,
mhm,
I know we have a lot of trauma in our community, but we got
mhm,
to start thinking better and understanding our power as women and understanding that we can build a man or we can destroy him.
mhm.
And that's
Real
just the
talk.
power we have as women. We can build him up or we can destroy that man. And a lot of I know a lot of back in the day, or whatever time frame you want to use, a lot of sisters blame brothers and say, oh, brothers do this, brothers do that. We can't even blame our brother, sister. It's us. There's a lot of this stuff we got to look at
Mm,
ourselves. All of us got to look in the mirror. But a lot of stuff that I see lately, I be seeing the brothers be on point.
mm-hmm.
Brothers been on point.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get back on point, queens. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
be a queen. Everybody ain't gonna be that, but you gotta at least have some respect for yourself and build your man up. Stop tearing him down
Most
and
definitely.
stop being petty with him over money. Go ahead.
Most definitely. I was
I'm
gonna
off
say
my
too.
soapbox.
Hey, you can stay on. You was preaching.
Look, that mad hatter left because of me, because I was preaching.
Right. Mad hater.
That mad hater.
Yeah. I was
Okay.
gonna say, and I wanted to kind of go back to that for a second. I think what happens sometimes is like people they don't like to hear like a lot of content creators start talk like us specifically talking about how we need to have a more empowered media. They'll kind of get into
Right.
solution samboism. They'll be like, where the solutions at? You know, like, well, what are you gonna do about it? And they ain't doing shit.
Right.
Like that's what
At
it
least
always
we
boils
talking
down to.
about it, nigga. What you doing?
Right. If you don't like it, then don't come. Like what? You ain't gotta
Right.
watch it. Ain't nobody
Right.
forcing you. You ain't got a gun to your
Right.
head. Come on. Anyway,
Right.
let me see here. Um, okay, yeah, so that she just said that's
Yep.
very true. Our men need our love and support. Yep. Yep, yep, yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you think Hidden Colors was good, then you should definitely check out Reclaiming the Throne. Mm, I don't think I've seen Reclaiming the Throne. Who did that? If you're
Yeah,
still
let
here,
us know
Chris
who did
Brown.
that. Is that my Chris Brown? Is that my Chris
Oh, you have
Brown
a
from my
follower named Chris
Universal
Brown?
Supreme? Yeah, he's been on my show. I think that's my boy Chris. He's been on my show before. I believe that's him, but I don't know because there's a lot of Chris Brown, so he would have to let me know it's him.
Got you. Yeah, I'm thinking of Breezy, like like running Chris Brown.
And he's another one that had an unfortunate turn in his career with all that
Yeah.
nonsense with Rihanna. And I heard all the real stories about that.
Hmm.
And that brother's career got stolen from underneath him behind all that shit.
Yeah.
We got to
It's
stop doing that to each other, family.
most definitely. I was gonna say, so I don't think I ever told you this, but my top four favorite artists, like music artists of all time, are Michael Jackson's number one for me. Number two is Luther Vandross. Number three for
Mhm.
me is actually Chris Brown, and then number four is Janet Jackson. So Chris Brown, I'm a
Wow.
big fan of him. So, I
Mhm.
think about that situation a lot as well too. I think that his career it got really derailed because of the whole Rihanna situation. But what's
Yep.
funny to me about that is she was allowed to live her life. She became a
Yep.
billionaire with that whole Fenty thing. You know what I'm saying? And you exactly. And then with him, I mean, he can't even go on an award show without being called a domestic of violence, a woman beater, and all this other stuff. So
It
it's
ruined his
crazy. It's so
reputation, his
crazy.
career. And let me tell you something, and this ain't no, because listen, you either on code or you're not on code. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And let's call the spade a spade. She's not FBA.
She's not.
So they got a different mindset than us sometimes, family. And this is why I say the whole Universal Supreme, all the melanated, they're a part of the family, but everybody ain't the family you like. You know how you got some blood that they your blood, but you can't fuck with them. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So this is what these people are, and that's what Tariq would call a tether, with the family called tethers. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You skin folk, but you ain't kin folk,
Yep.
and you'll do anything for the dollar, and you sell out. And of course, whatever happened with that, we kind of know what the real story was, right? So she took that bag to continue to do that. Like that
Hmm.
was a whole bad situation there. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
She started the whole fight, but then, of course they're going to believe the woman that got a mark on her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't, as a man, you can't do that. You can't do it. You got
Right.
to restrain yourself, because this is what happens.
Hmm.
And this ain't no different than the white girl saying rape on the black man. It ain't no
Hmm.
different than that. I look at that the same way,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
you started that fight with that man,
Yep.
and that man was just trying to defend himself, and y'all's both very young. and
Right.
you allowed it to go out of proportion and out of control, and probably the people came in with a little bag saying, "Oh, Rihanna, well, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that," and you now look, she got them millions,
Mm-hmm.
got all her Fenty, got all her billion. They set you
Yep.
up for this. This is the great setup, guys.
Yep.
This is that sellout energy. It's that trinket energy.
Mm-hmm. And this
It's the same
the
trinket energy from the 1500s.
yeah, it's two things. One, men can get abused too, and she was a part of
Yes.
that. Number
And
two,
usually we be the ones starting it. We be
exactly,
starting with
and
men.
it's
We
just
do.
overlooked. And it's
We
not like we
do.
can say anything because if we do, then we're looked at like we're punks. So that's another thing.
Right.
And then the other thing I was gonna say too is, and I wasn't even gonna point at just that, but like Rihanna was even involved in, how like sometimes some of them, excluding Sexy Red, a lot of those non-FBAs, they'll like go and they'll post pictures of Martin Luther King and they'll give him gold teeth and all sort of stuff. She was doing shit like that. So that's
Was
where I
she?
kind of knew. Yeah, she was doing that. Nicki Minaj, I think, had either did or said something as well too.
She
So
did
yeah,
something with
they'll do
Malcolm
stuff like
X's
that.
cover. Nicki Minaj did something, I think, with Malcolm X's when he had the shotgun
Was that what it
in the
was?
window.
Okay.
Yeah, she did something with that.
Yep. Yep. I think I said like MLK, but it was Malcolm X. You're right about that. Let me see here. Screenwriting is important. However, it is also necessary to have an understanding of all aspects, film and TV production, especially marketing, when creating our movies and series. I agree. I think knowing copywriting will be important, like as a skill as well too. General marketing would also be very important. Understanding like colors, like how they operate, and putting the right ones to kind of get your messages out of there, because colors even can kind of control the way people look at or pay attention to certain things. And that's why even
It
like if you
does.
go on some like Facebook, like Facebook, like it's all blue and stuff like that. But if you get a notification, it's like it'll be a red icon, it'll say one or two or whatever. Like you'll pay attention to that immediately because red is supposed to kind of draw people in. So those are the type of things that we should know when we're marketing. I know that's kind of like abstract to the point, but my point is that we need to kind of see how we can kind of market the stuff we put out there as well too.
I want to just add on a little bit to that because
Mhm.
I'm all frequency. Colors are frequencies. That's all they
Yeah.
are.
Hmm.
So they hold energy, they hold power. They represent different, they and evoke different feelings, and
Hmm.
different emotions. And that's why it's important when you are picking your brand colors to pick colors that that are in tune and vibration with the message and the branding that you're trying to put out there. So
Most definitely.
that's another thing for the family to get their astronumerology, because that's a part of it. There's a lot of a part of it. So I just wanted to throw that out there that they do. It definitely matters what color. Colors are frequencies.
I agree with that. Most definitely.
Hmm.
I have short films that are about us as boxers and dealing with romantic drama, etc. But I'm currently working on a 1970s vampire film and a young black woman led Western feature film. Okay,
Get
that's
at me,
cool.
Gary. Get at
That's
me,
cool.
Gary. Get at me so you can come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah, get at me as well too, because I definitely want to
Yeah,
talk more about it. I
yeah,
don't know if you follow me on
absolutely.
Instagram as well too. It's the same as what it is on YouTube, but
Hmm.
like you might already follow me. I don't know, but it's cool, Colas. So we can definitely like talk more too there.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
And how do you distribute your films right now? Like what's your platform?
Yeah, let us know. Let's see
Yeah.
here. Hebrew Nation building. No, I'm just regular, bro. LOL.
So I guess
Yeah.
he's not Chris Breezy.
Nope, not at all. Nope, 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 nope.
Okay. We still love you.
Yep. He's not gonna do under the influence for us over here. But anyway, so I want to do one last question here, and then we
Okay.
can go ahead and wrap this up real quick. I know we've been on here a couple hours, like we've been on here almost 3 hours actually. Now that I'm looking at the time, but
That's what you
um
get when you got a number 3 person and my soul urge is a 3. So we're both very talkative people.
nice.
So,
But I was like, I don't know what it is. I think it's probably because we're talkative and we got a lot to say. So, and we're
yeah.
passionate
And
about
we
the stuff
haven't
we
we
talk
haven't
about.
chopped it up in a minute too. So guys, not only is this you seeing us talk this is really us catching up with each other too.
It is.
The bro in a minute because he's been doing his thing and I've been doing my thing. So we get busy. But I check out as many videos as I can here and there, and I just love everything you're doing. Like it'd be on point. I'd be like, bro is really on point with this, and you really have niched yourself out to the max. And I think it's beautiful and it's amazing, and that's why you're seeing the growth that you're seeing too, because you're being consistent and you're believing in yourself,
Yeah.
and you got your queen to support you. So it's amazing to see, and I'm really proud of you.
I really appreciate you saying that.
Hmm.
It's a lot of hard work, but hearing stuff like that definitely means a lot
Yeah,
to me for sure.
yeah, and we need that encouragement too from one another. That's
Yeah,
important.
I definitely appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I'm just gonna keep growing it and getting stuff out there. And this is another thing I was gonna talk about real quick. Um it's like a question, but it's also a conversation. But
Hmm.
eventually I'm going to move more into the space of talking about the stuff that I'm going to be coming out with. The main point of me doing my brand was to kind of show people the problems with the things that are going on in media right now, so it can lead to how I'm creating solutions, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have been talking about a lot lately is how I can just fund different comic books, because I feel like if I can get comic books into like more stores and sell them and things like that, eventually
Mhm.
that can lead to these things being produced in other ways. I don't know if I told you this either, but I have like about 100 different comic book ideas at this point that I just haven't come out with, like 100 actual main character storylines. But right now I have enough where I could probably create like series that are I guess spin-offs of the series that I have as well too. But I want to
Mhm.
kind of start off like, with the things that I want to focus on first. So I'm just not taking on too much at a time. But eventually
Mhm.
I'm going to move into a space where, although I'm dissecting the media we see, I'm going to have like more lives where we're talking about some of my comics or some of the upcoming stories. Like, not giving everything because I want people to be surprised, but just enough so people kind of know some of the things that I'm actually working on that's content based versus the things that are just related to me talking about pro blackness. So that's something that's
Mhm.
coming up in my world soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what you're doing, and I think it's a brilliant strategy,
Hmm.
because you're priming them, you're priming people,
Hmm.
and you're getting them thinking, and you're getting their critical thinking skill caps on,
Yeah.
and it's what we have to do, and that's why I know that things are going to work out because you're doing the work, and
Hmm.
when you do work, the result is going to be produced. So you just have to continue to do it, and it's the same thing that I'm doing,
Hmm.
um, you
Yeah.
know, prepping people and preparing people through some of the shows that I'm doing for this Universal Supreme Guide to Cultural Transformation that I'll be dropping later this year.
Yep.
Because really everything that I'm doing on all of the shows is what I'm going to be talking about in the book.
Hmm.
And what was funny is because I pretty much have, I want to say I have probably 70% of the book written.
Okay.
Um, and there's about 30% that I still need to do. I have about two to three chapters that aren't complete that I'm working on completing.
Hmm.
And I took everything that I have so far, I
Hmm.
copied it, like I did a copy, and I pasted it into the um chat, whatever it is,
Hmm.
just to see what they would say. So I said, critique
Hmm.
this book, critique this guide. And what was so interesting and so funny and so heartwarming is it gave my book a good review.
Mm.
But then it said, well, you might want to think because you might be excluding people. You might be excluding people from, yeah, I am excluding people. This is for people who are
Yes, on
on code.
purpose.
This is for foundational Black America. First of all, let
Right.
me say the book is for foundational Black Americans first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then it's for the rest of the melanated family that's on code. So
Hmm.
this is who I wrote the book for. I am excluding people. So when the chat thing told me that, bro, it solidified me in my spirit to say,
Yeah.
damn girl, you wrote that shit like you did it. And it really motivated me to be like, I gotta finish my last three chapters. I gotta finish my last three chapters so I can make
Mm,
sure I get everything rolling and do everything I gotta do with the editing and the publishing so I can drop it when I want to drop it. But it just really reassured me and it made me think, damn, like, okay,
mhm.
it's telling me, yeah, I think you might be leaving people out. You might be like alienating, why don't you make it more universal and make it more for no. I mean, and it is universal because the information and the knowledge really anyone really could use it.
Yeah.
But I made it specifically for specific people. So I was
Yeah.
happy when it told me that because that's what I was going for.
Yeah. That's interesting though. My
Right?
thing is like, okay, so would you say that with the show Friends? If I was to like, you know what I mean? Like if
Right.
I was to ask GBT, like, do you feel that same way about Friends? Do you feel like it was inclusive enough? Let's see what it would say.
Damn, I should have asked it that. I I should have asked it that. But
Yeah.
I just thought it was so funny because I was like, well, that's what and for a minute, I'm tell you
Mhm.
for a split second, I thought about it. I'm like, well, should I make it you? He said, but no, I'm making it for the family. I'm like, it is for them.
No.
It is excluding people.
Yeah,
It's
stick to your guns
exclusionary.
on that. Yeah, because and
Yeah.
the thing about that too is, you also have a target audience for the stuff that you
Yes.
create, right?
Yes.
And not everything that you create is for everybody. That's the other part of
Correct.
it as well too. They have
Right.
books that just cater to just women, books that cater to just men. There's nothing wrong with just like catering to foundational Black Americans or Black people. Now, I will
Mhm.
say, with my book, the Pro Black Blur series, exposing anti-Black media tropes the blurred way, the point is to cater to Black people in the majority. But I've actually had white people buy my book, and I'll tell them,
Mhm.
this book is really for anybody who's justice oriented. If you feel like you're a justice
Yes.
oriented person, then you should get this book because there's a lot that you'd even be able to learn from it. And some white people are like, okay, bet I'll buy it. So although like it's marketed towards like, Black people, specifically foundational Black Americans, because we're talking about American media, there
Mhm.
have been people who are non-Black who will buy it because they're just interested enough in wanting to kind of just learn more about what I'm saying. And as soon as I
Yeah.
say justice oriented, they'll perceive that they're a part of that. So I do that, I
Right.
will say, with my book.
I like that. I like that you say justice oriented. I think I might have to market my book that way too. Because it
Yeah,
is.
because here's the thing, and what it separates is the difference between a white person and a white supremacist. And I talk about that
Yes.
on a lot of my page because one of the main things I get, and it's a straw man argument, I know, but I get all the time is, you say you're pro-Black. Does that mean that you're anti-white or you don't like white people? And I'm like, well, that's a straw man argument because I never said I didn't like white people. What I said was I don't like white supremacy. So when I say justice oriented, that actually puts the white people who say that they want to be a part of that or they want to buy the book or whatever on the spot. Because if you're not justice oriented, then what are you? So
You're
that's
a
my
white
point. Like
supremacist.
whenever I say that
Yeah.
to them, so it almost guilt trips them a little bit. I think.
I love it, brother. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah,
You gotta use their own tricks back on them.
exactly. That's
What you
the
gotta
name of the
do.
game.
Yes.
Let's see
Brilliant.
here. Somebody said he stole my name. I'm looking for compensation. That's funny. That's funny. You're definitely right. We need people working in lighting, set design, cinematography, sound design, color grading, special effects. Yep. Yep. So he already knows. Let's see here. I'm working on a graphic novel. That's what's up. Struggling with finding passionate artists and understanding copywriting and publishing. That's the
I
stage
think
I'm at
that
with comic books.
yeah. I think that's my Chris Brown. Did
Yeah.
you write another book, Chris Brown, called Hidden in the Shadows?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Do
He's
you
acting cryptic if it is mine.
yeah. Yeah, it seems like he's pretty familiar, so I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. Let's see. Thank you, Taylor B TV, for speaking to the sisters on supporting Black men versus tearing us down. Yeah, most
Yep.
definitely. Men must be men and women must be women, period. Good looking out. Also, neither of us looks our ages. Be one.
Thank
Man.
you. Thank you, brother. And if you like that talk, then you definitely need to come subscribe to BTV because it's
Mhm,
Queens Up and Kings Up Nation over there. And that stands for Queens Understand Their Power or Position, and
mhm.
Kings Understand Their Power or Position. And I do a whole thing about it. And, I just speak the truth to power. And I let people know I'm straight. Bro knows, like,
Yep.
I got that fire. I'm a Leo, so I don't play around. You know
She
what I'm
doesn't.
saying? And I'll tell you quick when you acting out of pocket, sisters, brothers, whoever. You know what
Most
I'm saying?
definitely.
Like, and we gotta understand. Like, we're too powerful, people. Like, y'all gotta understand how powerful you are, yo. All of
Mm-hmm.
us are magicians. We're all powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We all are magi. Okay, we all have the power. We have our ancestors. They walk with us in spirit, and
Mm-hmm.
we can invoke that. And you just got to get in tune with yourself. And once you do that, man, you're gonna respect all your family, brothers and sisters alike. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even like, I'll deal with tethers to a degree,
Yeah.
to a degree, because then you
Mm-hmm.
got to get the sword. You know what I'm saying? But it's nothing wrong with showing people respect, and we've gotten away from it, and I think a lot of it got to do with the music. Hip hop has been infiltrated, and
Yep.
it has been taken over, and it has been weaponized against us. And we
That's
know we're drum people. That's our heart and soul. Music is our heart and soul. It's who we are as a people. You know what I'm saying? A lot. So by them taking that over, it's corrupting us. It's corrupting the babies. And that's what it is. A lot of sisters,
true.
letting their kids listen to the radio and all this, and they ain't watching them, and that letting them watch whatever on TV. Like, you gotta be present in your children's life, and it takes a family unit to do that.
Yep. Most definitely.
So even if you ain't with the brother no more, even if you got him on child support, if you got okay, but still let him see his seed. If he wants to come get the seed, let him come get his seed. What you angry about it for? You already
Most,
didn't want him, so move on and let him come get his seed and let him teach his seed.
most definitely. No, that's real talk.
Okay, Chris Brown. Well, when you
No,
get
this
your
will be
book
my
written,
first
then you
book.
hit me up so you can come on Cultural Reflections and talk about it. How about that?
Cool. Cool, cool. I was gonna say I was gonna ask you one more question, but you actually already answered it. That was gonna be my what was your solution, or what things are you doing to help change media? You kind of already answered it though, actually, unless you want to
Yeah,
elaborate more.
I will. I'll elaborate a little bit more.
Please do.
So, well, BTV is the whole reason why I started BTV, and I started the platform back in 2016. It wasn't always YouTube heavy like I'm doing now. But I started it because even back then in 2016, I've always felt like this, I just never really knew how to express it.
Mhm.
And I never had an outlet to express it. So in 2016, when I kind of was given that idea to spark to start a platform, I was like, I named it BTV. Um, and at first, I wasn't even calling it Black Education Empowers True Vision. It was like, bringing in education, enlightenment. I had a different acronym and stuff for it, and I kind of evolved it into that. And I will say, like, the hidden knowledge, the hidden colors, and all that kind of was what kind of turned me into evolving it into that new acronym.
Mhm.
But I did it because I'm like you. I got tired. I was like I was Oscar Michaud. I got tired of seeing us portrayed in the light. I got tired of baby mama, baby daddy culture. I got
Most definitely.
tired of drama culture. I got tired of seeing the baby suffer for our ignorance and our selfishness.
Yeah.
I just got sick of it, and I don't operate like that. Like, we all have our times throughout our life with it, but I've always been supportive of everybody. And I truly want to see us all win. So I've
Mhm.
been doing this, and I just do it off the strength. I spend all my own money, I do my own thing, and I had people try to get me to come to their platform and do this and do that, and I've never did it because the minute you start doing that, now they want to control your narrative, control what you do, and all that.
Yep.
So I've always stayed true to my own channel, to my own self. It's been more of a struggle for me that way, but I
Hmm.
prefer it that way because I don't want people, infiltrating me and changing what I want to do. So I wanted to
Hmm.
make it that way. So, the first thing that I kind of came up with was Queens Up, and I came up with that back in 20 actually came up with that like I guess 2017, I would say.
Hmm.
And I was working with, I work with Hellraiser of Sons of Man. You guys know Wu-Tang Clan. Sons of Man is the first royal family, the first Wu-Tang affiliate family. Um, One of the first off of the Wu-Tang Clan. So I worked with Hellraiser, and
Hmm.
I was doing promotion for him. And he has wings up. He says wings up, wings up. That's a thing, that goes with the Wu symbol and all that. So when in working with him, I'm like, yo, Queens up. And it started with Queens Up, and it was because of the way that the women in the industry was acting with each other and acting with me. Like when because I was now in the industry doing things, and I seen the jealousy and the envy and the hate and the looking at you this way and frowning your face up. And what the fuck you frowning your face up at me for? I don't
Right.
even know you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like Queens Up, and at first it started. It's a term of endearment for the
Hmm.
women to learn how to interact with each other. Like me telling you Queens Up or saying you look beautiful, Queen, or whatever, ain't going to stop me from getting a man or stop me from getting my whatever.
Right.
We all have something to bring, and that's where it really started. It started with trying to bring some positivity back to the way that we as females interact with each other. Because, like I said, females, we're women, we're the backbone. We raise the family. We teach the
Hmm.
next generation. We have a big influence on the way the family goes. A lot
Hmm.
of times, the family goes how the woman kind of says, because the man is going to conform to his woman a lot, and
Hmm.
support her. So I wanted to really let women know you don't got to act like that. And it was
Yeah.
more for our black women, because a lot
Hmm.
of us are angry. We are, I know that's a stereotype and a trope, but a lot of us are angry, and we
Yeah.
have some good reasons to be,
Absolutely.
But I was coming to say we don't have to be, and we
Hmm.
can and we can direct. We can still be angry, but direct the anger to where it goes.
Hmm.
Don't direct the anger to your man and to your family and all that. Direct the anger to the dominant society where it belongs. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? That's where your anger, that's who made you angry. That's who created the conditions that got you angry. So
You're
why are
right.
you going to take that out on your man, and now you just destroying your whole damn family and destroying the whole damn generation because you're angry? That's selfish as hell. And
Hmm.
women need to stop acting like that. And that's why I say queens up. Queens understand their power, they understand their position and their role in society. And
Hmm.
that is to be a queen, talk like a queen, walk like a queen, treat your man like how a queen would treat their king. And
Hmm.
now you're giving your king the opportunity to be himself at least around you, because he can't be himself nowhere else in America. Where can
Hmm.
a black man go and just damn be his damn self
Hmm.
without having to talk lighter, be more, or whatever,
Yeah.
just to make everybody else comfortable. So at least he could come home and be comfortable with you,
Yeah.
and you can show him, here's your power, baby, and we got our power together. Now we both understand our position. Now we're
Yeah.
raising our family, and we're doing the things that we got to do to instill the right things in our children.
Hmm.
And that's how you build a nation of like-minded people that want good things for themselves, and that ain't gonna be envious of everybody else, and ain't gonna be jealous if, like how me and you are doing the show right now. Your wife
Yeah.
can easily say, oh, why you got her on the show, and but I know she's not like that,
Hmm.
because you wouldn't have been able to come this far if she was doing that. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So we got to learn to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? And we all human, so we gonna have slips, but we got to learn to trust each other. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We ain't all out here to cheat and do this and do that. We trying to work and build.
Yeah.
And we got to start understanding that. And then once we can get past that, now we can stop being jealous of each other. Now we can work together. See,
For
we
sure.
can't work together because we're so busy thinking this one want to take this one want. It's all a bunch of stupid ass drama for
Hmm.
nothing when we got more important shit to do. And
Hmm.
this is what I do on BTV. I just I do that. I talk that shit.
Hmm.
Sometimes, it just depends on what show I'm on, because I'm very multifaceted. So
Yeah.
I do a lot. I'm an astronumerologist. So I love my astronumerology. So but I do case studies on people. Like I did Michael Jackson. I did the Kendrick and Drake beef. So I do
Mm.
little things like that. And if you guys want to see something like that, you drop me a line and let me know that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I'll do the show and say, hey, this person gave me the inspiration for the show. But we break things down so you guys can understand energy, because that's the main thing, family, that we got to start understanding our own energy and these frequencies that we're dealing with in this world.
Hmm.
Because the minute we understand that and we can tune into ourselves the right way and know our opposition, now we're moving with spiritual guidance. You see what I'm saying? Because this,
Hmm.
we all know, we say we're in spiritual warfare, right? So
Yeah.
we're in spiritual warfare. You need your spiritual armor. That's your astronumerology. That's your metaphysical makeup. That's
Hmm.
your numeralytic makeup. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So come get your numeralytics with me. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna guide you. And once you with me, you're my family. So you got my moon line. You can text me a question. He be texting me.
Hmm.
We say we're gonna do this show, we're gonna do that show. You know what I'm saying? So all my moon people, all the people I did, they text my moon line, and we chop it up. You know what I'm saying? I still talk to a lot of my clients. They'll come ask a question, and they're right there.
Hmm.
but it's just to build us up. So the shows that you see on my thing is to either get us educated. What I mean? I do education presentations on history things, and I bring Israelite brothers on.
Mm.
I was big in the Israelite, movement, not move. I don't like to call them movements, but
Right. Because they don't see it that
spirituality.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a movement because it's who we are.
Hmm.
It's a part of our birthright.
Right.
And there's a lot of different things that we are that make up who we are. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I bring a lot of those brothers on. They're scholars. They write books and all that. They're very brilliant brothers that come on my show that I got a
Sure.
lot of respect for. And we
Yeah.
just do the thing. And I uplift y'all. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
do. Like I bring people like Kukola's on. I'm gonna bring Marcus on. I'm gonna
Hmm.
bring Chris on. I'm gonna bring Gary on when he is wants to come on. I
Most
bring
definitely.
people on. I'm having a baker come on in another week. She's a Black American baker and is opening up her own bakery.
Oh,
So
that's
just
cool.
different things like that to get y'all acquainted with the people,
Yeah.
in the family that's doing stuff, so we can support each other and be that network. So it's like a network to support each other that way. And I do the Justice on Earth, which is a nod to Nellie Fuller. So I cover 11 areas of activity, and it just depends on what
Nice.
what I feel and how I feel. And I've been kind of playing with that show and switching up the format. I
Yeah.
haven't really found the right, but I'm still working on it, and I bring it out when I get ready and I feel fiery. I bring that show out.
Yeah.
Like this could have been on that show. This could have been one of those shows. So
No
that
doubt.
and just the astronumerology, the cultural preservations, and of course hip hop. I'm a hip hop head.
Hmm.
I had Hellraiser on, legendary interview that he hasn't done an interviews, really a real one since his aneurysm. And
Hmm.
he came on BTV and he had a great response.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm going to have a lot of the other brothers, might get some surprise Wu-Tang brothers up in there. I'm working on it. And,
Study.
manifesting that. So y'all just come check me out. I got, the hip hop thing going, the cultural reflections with the entrepreneurs and the numbers. Numbers matter, and other things. I do little specials or whatever. I like to go live because I like the family from the energy, but I'm trying to learn from my brother right here
Mm.
and record pre-record and upload them videos. I'm trying to learn that
Yep.
consistency there. So I'm trying to do a little switch around, but I need the family support because it's hard to reach the people you want to reach because the world, especially YouTube, is very saturated with a lot of things. So it's
Hmm.
hard to find to connect the people that you should be connected with. So I appreciate, the king for bringing me on back on the platform,
Absolutely.
and really like letting people see who I am. And you know what I mean? I'm you. You're me.
Hmm.
We are us. You're the universal supreme. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's just what it is, and that's what I do. And I
Mm.
support you. I promote you. I market you. I market it for Hellraiser. So I have marketing skills and support skills. So I do that. I make flyers and whatever the family needs. I'm very multifaceted and multi-versatile, just like that Virgo sitting across from me. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We get it popping, and I'll support whatever you got. If it's positive, it's for, it's something positive. I'm on it, and I'm gonna help you with it, whatever.
Hmm.
I like giving people ideas and helping them out. They get stuck, let
Hmm.
me know because all that is blocked energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, once I know your numbers and stuff, like I sometimes I'll be harassing people, on their day and stuff, on their
Mm.
personal. I'm like, and it's
Yeah.
funny because a lot of times I won't do that.
Uh-huh.
And people that I know who they are, they'll come to me on a day that's their energy. And I'll be like, oh, it's a 5 day. I know I'm gonna hear from this person today.
Oh,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? Or it's an 8 day. Then
Interesting.
all these 8 people call me. Last week on the 8 day, one of my
Uh-huh.
hip hop brothers called me. He was born on the 8th. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, so you must have called to get booked on the show. And now he's booked on the show and it's dropping on the 17th. So
Interesting.
make sure y'all tap into that. That's gonna be Monday. We're gonna have Montana Black on the hip hop hour.
Mhm.
He's an artist out of Philly. He does his thing. He's got something called the Royal Space Academy that he's working on. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that yet, but my big mouth. Um,
All
I
good.
can't hold water sometimes, but yeah, I support the brother. Like I market people whether they want me to say the shit or not. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. All good.
shit. Somebody we gotta build
Yeah,
each
you
other
talking
up,
your talk.
baby.
It's all good.
Ain't nobody else gonna build us up. We gotta build
Yeah.
each other up. Ain't
Most
nobody else gonna do
definitely.
it,
Yeah.
especially not the dominant society. So we all we
Yeah.
got.
I
Shit.
agree. I love your passion. I love the all the stuff that you're doing right now. I'm definitely gonna be, sending a lot of good wishes that your profile and your platform on YouTube and whatnot continues to take off. You have my
Thank you,
100% support. I'm gonna keep like
brother.
watching your stuff because I do watch your videos as well too. So you
Thank you, brother.
definitely have this connection this way. So I'm glad that we've been able to connect, and I'm glad that you were able to come on this platform and talk more, about what you're doing, and then to also just exchange ideas with me. So this has been a great interview, and I've definitely
Yeah.
appreciated, the time that we had to talk about this stuff. So
Absolutely, brother.
yeah,
Absolutely. I am more than
definitely,
honored to be here.
most
And
definitely,
I just love you to life, you and your wife. And the cool click and the universal supreme. I love all of us. So,
most
we
definitely.
continue to build family. That's all I gotta say. Queens and kings up. Remember that.
Most definitely. Before we go, can you do us a favor and then can you shoot out your links? I know you can't really post them on here, but can you just
Yeah.
state like where people can find you at?
Yes. So you can find me on YouTube. My handle is at Teller BTV. I also have my Numeralytics YouTube. So if you're interested in those numbers, but I do some of the number stuff on BTV too. But for more number stuff, my other YouTube is at Numeralytics. Excuse me, I'm sorry, and it's Numeralytics, Numeralytics. And then my website is numeralytics.biz. My website for the clothes, if you like this shirt, is besmartclothing.com. And then all my other handles are at Teller B Media on Instagram, TikTok, and all that. The rest are all at Teller B Media. Um, and like I said, if you pop in Teller B Media or Teller B TV, you're going to see this symbol behind you. No one else does this. No, I mean, there's a lot of BTVs, but there
Hmm.
ain't no other Teller BTVs,
Most definitely.
you
Yeah, it's
know?
unique. I told you I really
Yeah.
like that symbol too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
dope.
I made this symbol in 2016 when I started BTV.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
I've been
it's
rocking.
really
It's been
cool.
good to me. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it embodies me. So just one last thing I'll leave the family with.
Yeah, yeah.
The Black Education Empowers True Vision. That's my BTV. And then with my numeralytics, my B is balance and esoteric energy. So,
Mm,
I am the acronym queen. I make up a million acronyms. If you go to besmartclothing.com, you'll see clothes that say royalty rules. That's another one of my thing that goes with the kings and queens up. And that's royalty rules is respect, uplift, love, empower, support. Those are
mm.
the base rules. And I got other rules that we put the acronyms with, interchangeables that you'll see in the book. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. And just tap in with me. Tune in with me. I got a moon line. The number is 302-492-7722. Text me. Just say you saw me on here. Let me know who you are, and we can build. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Most definitely. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming through and hanging out with us,
It's been
chilling with
dope.
us, and providing all the insight that y'all
Thank
did.
you.
So, other than that, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to be posting this after we're finished here. And y'all have a good rest of y'all's night. Have a good weekend.
Peace.
And I'll be talking to y'all later. Peace out.
Peace, family.